You're now listening to episode 65 of Signed In, an Xbox 360 podcast, recorded on March 20th, 2011. Find us online at signedinpodcast.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Signed In. I am Jeremy Superfro33.
I am Craig Profdresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
How is everyone today?
Good.
I have killed so many giant spiders in the past 2 weeks. It's not even funny.
In your home? Because we're doing this shit in your house, and I don't want...
Technically, yes. On my Xbox.
Okay, good. I'm like, you need to tell me your infestation before I sit down.
We've had some giant spiders, actual giant spiders.
Well, I get the giant spiders out front, living in the siding, but
they've been coming into the house. So.
Oh yeah, no, nothing for me yet.
Or waking up. I don't know what they've been showing up. I get a call like, "Hey, Sean,
are the spiders calling you?"
No, not the spiders. I'll be like
Sean,
downstairs. Yeah. I'll be downstairs playing games or something, and it's like, Sean, spiders. I'm like, oh, whatever. Because I know the spiders that she usually talks about. These have been pretty nice-sized spiders.
I envy you guys, because my house has bats.
Well, we should team up.
See,
I know, right?
Your bats eat the spiders.
Well, I know, but I would rather have the spiders.
Yeah, but...
My passive-aggressive haunted house, remember? So
right.
Now it's just crawling bats in the walls. They don't come in the house.
Well, no, they just hang
Drop
out.
some guano.
And so I walk outside, like, take the trash out, and all I hear is the noise of the bats, and they're just up on the side, hanging out, all over our house.
Chilling.
It is a pretty cool house. I mean, you can't blame them.
I'm going to start selling this house.
The bat house.
Just start selling it piece by piece.
Yeah. I've really talked it up, so I know the listeners out there probably want to...
Hey, man,
Get in on that
people
home.
love the supernatural. They'd be into that. Sell to the Sci-Fi Network for the show.
But this one's not awesome.
Yeah.
It's just tedious.
Hey, one man's tedious is another man's awesome.
All right.
True.
Let's not get back on that road. How about we talk about some video games?
Okay.
So your fake spiders that you fought.
Yes, I fought tons of giant spiders between Torchlight and Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like arachnopocalypse over here. If I should have busted out Laura Croft, Guardian of the Light. I would have made a triumvirate there of giant spider killing.
Nice.
And then watch Eight-Legged Freaks on Netflix.
Exactly.
You shouldn't do that.
What are you talking about? That's Arquette's best movie.
Okay, I will give you that. And still would say don't do that. What was that, Ready to Rumble? Was that his wrestling movie he did?
He did a wrestling movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with
Oh,
Khan.
awesome.
Or not like Wrath of Khan, but
Shaka Khan?
not Shaka Khan. That
Khan?
other Khan guy.
I saw there's a Triple H movie on Netflix instant now.
What, the Chaperone?
Yeah.
Chaperone. I thought I remember a Chaperone movie from the 80s.
It's been not Diesel.
It was coming out coming to the theaters. I saw ads on TV,
Really?
and then I was at Walmart and saw an ad for it coming out on DVD the same week. So it must have been a multi-release to everything.
Awesome.
Well, yeah,
But it was exclusive to Walmart,
It's
which
viral.
probably says a lot about their demographic and their target market. So if we've offended enough people, not Triple H fans,
That's all right. They're just Triple H fans. They'll get over it.
they've already been
steel chair to the
offended
head.
long before we started saying anything.
Exactly.
All right, how about some video games again?
Oh, okay.
So you had Dragon Age, you had some Torchlight. Anything
Yeah,
else
I had a few indie games and then also some DLC.
Nice.
Yeah, DLC for ilomilo and for Dead Space 2.
That is awesome since I've checked out neither of those.
Yes.
And I haven't heard anything from either of those. So I
Really
look forward.
nothing?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because I don't look at anything anymore.
Right.
I haven't. I never look at anything.
Well, let me spoil it for you.
I got some indie games in, which some of them I really like. Some of them were kind of cool.
Yeah.
Little Battle of Los Angeles.
Oh, did you check that out?
I did play that
Check that
too.
out.
I didn't.
I hadn't been intending to talk about it, but if you're going to talk about it, I'll talk about it.
Oh yeah. Some Full House Poker, which I loved. I got some. I'll update a little bit on Bulletstorm, and then I got some Yoostar 2 for my Kinect corners in the house.
Is that the movie game?
Yes.
Cool.
And they're
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, good. I want to hear about that too. I'm excited for this show.
Homefront.
You just get to sit over there
I'm
listening.
not going to even talk. I have nothing.
Homefront wasn't in
That's not
stock, but Yoostar 2 was in stock. So
or
Oh, I've had some fun with that
So
game.
look what happens.
Sure.
I bet you've had more fun than I've had with Homefront, but
Probably.
we'll save that for later. So I have a couple of things that you guys mentioned, so I'll double up on some of those. But
Okay.
then I've also got some Homefront, as Sean mentioned, being absent, and Fight Night Champion. Check that out as well, and Dragon Age.
Sweet.
So I guess we'll get to him. Who wants to start some indie games?
Okay, I'll start off with a game that...
I will allow that.
Thanks. It's called Love Hurts. It's
Yes.
a side-scrolling retro beat-em-up. And what I really like about this game is that it's really funny, actually.
It is.
Because it's kind of taking humorous riffs on like video games, this style of video games, and then also just story cliches, the saving the princess sort of deal. There's the boss in, what is it, level 2 or whatever, who's the chef, and he's like,
Yes.
I'm the fat guy who can bounce around.
Who was the first boss? It was that
The vacuum cleaner.
That's
yes.
it. Yeah.
And I thought it's really short. It's only 80 points, but it's pretty short. What is it, 5 levels? Did you get to the end?
I did not get to the end.
Okay, I think it's only about 4 or 5 levels. But it's very funny and quite a bit of fun, and actually took me a while to get through because it's kind of difficult.
It is. It does get hard. I noticed that sometimes you can't, because it's basically just a side-scrolling fighter.
Right.
In the vein of, I guess, probably closest for me would be like Kung Fu from the old NES.
Yeah, that's a good
without
comparison.
without the ha 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 laughings at the end.
Unfortunate.
But unfortunately without those. But I noticed a lot of times when you get into some like fist fights with people, like it was sometimes you had a block button, and you definitely have to use that. Or there's also on the triggers there's a hop back button, so it kind of scoots you back,
right? Which I
in the opposite direction you're facing. So sometimes because you get overpowered,
I'd also use that to get across the room really quickly. Sometimes I turn around
and
just
go backwards. I was doing that too
because he's slow.
But I noticed that sometimes those guys are just relentless in their punching. Like those waiter guys at the beginning. Yeah. Like sometimes if they're getting you punched, like you can't counter punch.
Well, what was difficult for me is, and this is a good thing, is that the punches and kicks, you have to actually time them.
Yes.
Like the distance, like the foot and the fist actually have to be connecting with the person.
Yeah.
If they're too close, then you miss. And so that would be when I encountered that problem. But if I punched soon enough, then it generally worked out. It's the chefs that jump kick you.
Yeah, you know what?
Those guys are bitches.
But I love that part because I got so like I played through the first level and I was like, okay, well I got this. I just jump kicked, then I crouched down and I uppercut a guy and they're dead. I'm like, this is not. If this is what it's going to be, I'm just going to cakewalk through this entire game.
Right.
And I got in the second level and I did the same thing. And then I got to the guy, I jumped at him and he was the chef guy.
Yeah.
And he jump kicked me and I'm like, oh, well, I guess this ain't going to work the whole game, is it now?
And then the drunk uncle comes over there and breathes fire on you while he's immune. I always forgot he was immune while he was drinking, even though he's flashing. And I'm standing there trying to punch him, like, oh, wait, just before he breathes fire on
so
me.
much.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
So, yeah, I like that little change up because I was like, well, maybe it won't be so good.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the game a lot. I like the look. It's definitely that old, but it's really bright.
Yeah.
It's like an 8-bit look, but it's really smooth. But it's really bright colored too, which I thought was really good.
I was kind of reminded of like Maniac Mansion style for art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was cool for me.
I got a Scott Pilgrim vibe out of it just because of just the story and the fun and the feel of it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I think that was, I wouldn't be surprised if that was intended. But
I still liked it. I mean, the audio for it is fantastic.
Yes, it was.
I thought the sound effects were good, and just I thought it was a good package for 80 points.
80
I thought
points.
it was a good buy.
And I don't know if we mentioned it, but John Corp Games is the maker of the game.
No, I didn't mention. I like the heart guy.
the one that comes out and says
who appears when you start a level or when you die
and
stuff like
tells
that.
you the direction to move. And
yes,
everything.
that's right. He was funny.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I played some I accidentally ... in space episode 1.
Nice.
So that's the full title.
It is
80 points. It is from Lethal Martini Games, and this would be a vertical shooting, so like in the vein of like Space Invaders.
Yep.
But also a platformer. So as you clear the waves, you jump up on a platform and more platforms appear. And then you activate another wave, And as you kill more of the aliens, because you're playing a robot, right? Or are you an alien too?
I assume you're like some dude.
You're just
with
basically
a big gun.
going after. I mean, there is a loose story based around this where you're going after jewels that have like gems that have been spread out through.
They're defending them or something.
They're defending them, and you rightfully want to steal them.
Yeah,
because that's what you do.
Buy fuel for your car. I mean, spaceship fuel.
So you're advancing upwards and shooting a wave, waves, and you'll clear them out. And when you reach another height, like another wave will appear.
Yeah.
And basically, you're just going through and trying to collect all the gems in each level. And I think there's 7 different levels. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really well done. It's a neat concept to me to like have it be an ever changing as you climb upwards kind of vertical shooter like that. And then, really neat.
Yeah, and then they've got, like, that's where your multipliers are, too, because, like, you can jump up and keep jumping up higher to get more points for taking down the enemies, but then sometimes you have to get to the right side of the screen where the platform hasn't showed up yet to shoot at them, so you kind of lose out. But then I was like hanging out on platforms and jumping over shooting so I could get that multiplier,
because there's lines that go across that have like 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and if you're above that line, that's your multiplier for score, which I really like. There's just a lot of awesome stuff going on. And then in the second level they start adding in things like spikes in the floor that'll damage you, because you do have, a damage meter, a health meter.
Yeah.
And there are power-ups you can pick up for like shields and increasing your weapons, and you have a secondary weapon that you can use, which I had at one time was like a spread shot, which you have limited ammo, or there's a laser you can use, and those are all just limited usage.
Cool.
But
I thought the spikes in the floor was a nice touch.
Because now you're also managing like bullets coming down and spikes in the floor that you can hardly see. But
I have to jump over or try to look to where you're going. I really, once you start playing the game, it really unfolds, and it really drew me in, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah,
really,
I bought
really.
it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was. I mean, it's just,
I bought it myself.
I really like that. The invention of that kind of game, like, it's just neat to see the mashup of those two genres, and it's something that I haven't seen before. It's something that you see all the time with the like Space Invaders type game, or a platformer, but to have them all together was kind of a neat little thing that I haven't seen before, personally.
It was cool.
But it had the 7 levels, and then it also has some challenge modes, which I haven't gone into yet and done. So there's some extra stuff on top of that.
Awesome.
And then they have some in-game achievements that you can unlock as well. Well, not unlock, but things you can go for.
Right.
Goals.
There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. But 80 points, check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
I got Load, 80 points. It's from Silver Dollar Games 3. Yeah. So it's exactly what it is. Yeah. I mean, once you get past what the concept is,
it's a naval concept, right?
It's a naval concept. You're in a submarine, and you're a seaman. You're trying to run to the end of the submarine, and you've got to try to avoid all of the obstacles in your way.
I'd say you're about 10 inches too high if you're going for the naval.
Well,
10? I don't know. I don't have my measurement out.
Never mind. So then, yeah.
So you're playing basically sperm, right?
Exactly. Yes. You're a lone man or woman. It depends on where you.
Did they have to call the game Load?
I don't. That's what I don't get. I mean, I was like,
that was a little far.
I mean, once I saw the screenshots for it, I was just that's what kind of made me interested. Because I was like, what's this game all about? And it's a side-scrolling left to right. And it's a distance type game. But you're running through this certain path, and these paths are like little square blocks, and you got to stay on that path, because when you divert from the path, it takes away from your life.
Okay.
And then once you get back on the path, your life goes back up. And it gets pretty fast. Gets pretty fast paced. You can move your cursor, I'm going to call it, all the way to the right, or keep it all the way to the left.
Yeah.
There's a map across the bottom. I mean, it's really done really nice.
Okay.
But once you get past the whole idea of the game, it's not a bad game. I had a lot of fun with it. I kind of just tried to see how far I could go.
So are you always moving?
Yeah, you're always.
Okay, so is it like Hypership Out of Control, kind of, where you're moving and the screen is, or the path is moving for you, and you're just maneuvering up and down?
Maneuvering up and down. I just
had a brainstorm. These guys should team up with Baby Maker Extreme.
I know.
That's exactly it.
Just segue from one into the other.
You do this, you connect,
you succeed,
and then you shoot out the other side.
You could download your character. You can update it.
Yeah, you carry it over.
Yeah, you carry it over. You name it, and then you carry it over.
So you shoot in and then shoot out at the end. I like this.
Yeah. And then if you land,
geniuses.
And then you could go through Love Hurts or something like that.
Mashup. We need to get these
like Baby Razor Extreme.
Baby Razor. That's terrible.
That is terrible. Don't.
I mean, in like spelled out, like in reading form, I bet that's fine. But like just audio form, Baby Razor comes off as a whole different game.
Yeah, it does. The game I'd play. But the load, it's worth checking out. I wish they wouldn't have gone the route they did because I think there's an enjoyable game in there. But I'm kind of glad that they went that route.
You like the concept?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
the conception.
See what I did there? There it is.
Wordplay.
Oh boy!
But
it's too early in the morning for puns.
But it's I don't know.
All right.
You liked it, though.
That sounds like the talking in the Sugar Killerz.
Yes,
actually.
There we go.
A little bit. So the Sugar Killerz is a 4-player local co-op, twin stick shoot 'em up craziness going on there.
Yeah.
And the basic idea here, from what I figured out, because it's got a little bit of a plot to it, is that there's this king. And
it's all done with pictures.
Yeah,
right?
it's
no audio.
pictures. Right. There's this king, and he's trying to monopolize, I guess, on the candy market. But he has this horrible industrial kingdom, and it's all sludge. And so, of course, the candy kingdom next door is totally beating them out. So he hires 4. I'm guessing they're candies, but they're from his side.
Like messed up gumdrops.
Yeah, exactly.
They're evil.
As hitmen to go kill everyone in the candy kingdom. And so that's you.
That is it.
Which reminded me a little bit of that Corrupted game that you talked about. That you talked about, where it's kind of taking the twist.
You're the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of the bad guy.
Although some of these candies are pretty jacked up looking, so I'm okay with killing them.
Awesome.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I like the most about it. Just kind of the whole design of the game.
Oh yeah.
Like the cutesy enemies, which are all not all candies, but like they're all cutesy, but a lot of them are just fun shaped candies flying at you, and they're not really doing anything except flying at you
and being happy
and so you have like 4 weapons that you can switch between.
Yeah.
And they all have like a secondary fire, and there are power-ups you can pick up, and you can switch between the different weapons whenever you want, so it's not like you only have this weapon.
Yeah, you switch them by your buttons too, so like what is it, the shotgun, the Uzis, the machine gun, and like a sniper rifle. And they're all just on the YBAX buttons, and so they switch pretty easily. And like you said, they have the secondary fire and the initial fire, but then they all also overheat. So you can't like just spam the shot button.
Do they all overheat, or is it just the Uzis? I think it's just the Uzis, because they're the only ones that have continuous fire.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the case then.
But you have two Uzis, and your secondary fire is actually your second Uzi.
Yeah, so that's what I was using most of the time.
Right.
So I was having a problem.
And that was wearing my fingers out a lot.
Exactly.
There was so much trigger pulling going on. It was a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun though. I mean, I like the look a lot. It is. I don't know if did you mention it's 4-player? Because it is 4-player. Okay.
Local co-op. Yeah.
And if you don't have multiple people that you're playing with, they're all still on the screen at the same time.
And they're good.
They are good. They're better than me.
Those AI are much better than me.
Because it looked like you got like a score based, like a dollar amount.
Yeah, you're
above
earning
your person.
money or something.
And they were always higher than I was. They were doing much better than I was shooting.
That too.
So it's competent AI.
Yeah.
But you're just floating around a space that's moving left and right and up and down, and the enemies are coming in from the side. So there's just always enemies showing up. So it's not like there's ever like a lapse of people to shoot. It's just that they always got to them before I could.
Not everyone. I mean, there's a lot of enemies.
That's true. Yeah.
I always liked that. I liked that moving background going on in the back a lot too. It was fun.
I like the style of it.
Yeah.
I really like the cell shading, and it's got a Castle Crashers kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And the character models were pretty sweet, especially the candy. I mean, some of them are they're all like happy.
It's 400 points.
How about the horny pigs?
Yes,
the horny pigs.
And those things that would get all big. There was like this weird thing that looked like it had chapped lips. It
That's what I'm saying.
Me of the like Dave Chappelle when he was a cracked out guy.
Hi, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but that's like they were like little like clam, one-eyed clam guys.
Yeah.
But they look like they had chapped lips. So then I was like,
they wanted
to
eat you.
Yeah.
That's why I thought you were candy.
Yeah, that's why I think they were like, I'm hungry.
I know they were jacked up looking.
Yeah,
so then I was like, I want to shoot those guys.
Yeah,
they're ugly.
Because it was weird how they would have like a mixture.
Yes.
Yeah, with their tongues and stuff. Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So it's 400 points.
Yes.
I don't know. I like the style, and I can definitely see that the work that went into it art-wise, but I worry about gameplay-wise if that was going to be enough to be sufficient.
Well, the only issue I have with it in terms of is it enough for me is that I don't have anyone around to play it with me. Yeah. So it's always going to be a single player game for me. And I really think that doing multiplayer would be a lot more enjoyable.
I agree with you.
Yep, but I agree.
To mess around with.
And it doesn't fit my screen. What is with that?
I had the same problem with my TV too, but it was the same problem I had with Two Worlds when we talked about it. And so
but that was a setting,
right? So you went in and changed it. Well, what I could do on my TV though is I had my TV set to 16:9.
Yeah.
But I can go in and just I can change it to just scan, so it actually does natively like whatever is coming through on the Xbox.
I tried that and it didn't quite work for me.
I did with mine and it worked.
Okay.
But
I mean, the only other solution I could think of was to actually go to the Xbox settings and change those.
But that's
too much work.
Yeah, I don't know why it was cutting off. I forgot to mention that. So yeah. I don't know why it was doing that, but whatever.
It's not game breaking or anything like that. It's not like there's information that at least I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The music was good.
The music was good. I liked the whole design of it. Yeah, I mean, if I had people living in my house with me, then
You mean living people in your house?
Yes, exactly. Instead of my regular
stacks and stacks and stacks of bodies,
cordwood. Then I would definitely be picking it up. Right now, I think it's very enjoyable, but I don't know if it's for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's totally worth checking out.
I don't know if Fun Hazard is the company that made the game too. So just make sure
I don't like to give anyone their credit.
I know. I want to make sure that they know.
Thank you.
So good job, gents.
Thank you.
I'm out for indie.
Oh, you are?
That was it for me, too.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, well, I got one last one.
You do it.
Bureau Agent Kendall, which is... It's a hard game to describe. So it's built around a lot of these CGI images of characters, like 3D rendered images and whatever. And you're an FBI agent, but you're like a computer technician, but they're trying to round out their staff, and so you get assigned to homicide detail.
It sounds like a total. That's Chloe 24 right now. She just gets thrown in a mission.
Oh, really?
I know. I know what's going on. I've seen this.
She's gonna zap somebody out in the field.
Yes.
And
darks.
And then and so you get assigned there and you have a partner and whatever. And what's really cool about it is that it's very heavily emphasizing critical thinking and hypothesizing skills. And so,
I'm joking.
Whatever.
I'm joking.
Whatever.
Come on.
Anyway, so like you meet up with
skills. I'm sorry. Okay.
You meet up with your new partner, and then he's all like creepy because he's all like, "I know all these things about you," blah 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 blah. And then well, and he's trying to teach you a lesson that you can find out things easily on the internet. So he sends you home, and your job. And so your job is to find out information about him. And so you do some searches, and then you come up with
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand this point.
Yeah.
So you're a detective.
Yes.
And you have a partner who's a detective.
Yes.
And you're at like a scene like trying to find out stuff, and he's like,
No, you just meet.
Okay, you just meet, and you're like, and he's like, hey, have you ever checked out the internet? You can totally like solve crimes and shit.
No, see what he...
No,
that's not what he's saying.
Okay,
because there's a bigger lesson.
Maybe
here.
I'm misunderstanding.
So then you go home and you
find
out some information, and then the information is all about him, like saying pervy things to women and like hanging out the Playboy Mansion and whatever. And so you come up with two hypotheses, and like one is like that he is a womanizer and you should watch out because Agent Kendall is a woman, and or the other one is that he's falsified his information on there. And so, it gives you like different things to think about. And then, and so I went with, he's falsified the information. I went back to talk to him, and I'm like, why'd you lie about your shit? And he's like, cause you can say shit in there.
Wow.
And then he's like, haha, you figured it out. And he's like, it's very simple to, falsify information on the internet. So you need to be thinking about things.
What if
it was a lesson.
But what if this is this guy's elaborate fucking cover story where he's like, hey, why don't you go look up stuff on me about the internet? Oh, it says you're a womanizer and you do all this stuff. Yep, it's a lie. And I just proved it by telling you.
Maybe that's what you find out later in the game. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I found that kind of... And then it also puts
That's what I'm going to start doing to people. I'm going to be like, hey, have you ever looked at the internet for information? Because sometimes it's not always true. My stuff on the internet says I killed a bunch of people. Didn't happen, I promise.
I did that. I wrote that to
not a child molester. I promise you.
Teach you a lesson.
I made that all up just to fool people.
Yes. To get back to the game,
sorry.
though,
this concept is blowing my mind.
It also, you should try out the game.
I should. Yeah. I'm going to now.
I'm going to
right now.
It also puts you in immediate situations where you have to kind of think things. You don't have like an actual one, but they give you a trial one because the screen will start flashing, and then as the time is running out, it'll start flashing more to kind of make you tense or whatever.
Yeah,
and you have to make a decision based on whatever information you have, and so that seemed like it's really kind of fun. And the nice thing is that the game doesn't take itself too seriously. Like it's kind of joking about all of that stuff that we're joking about as well.
Good.
And I really liked that about it, actually, because I saw the 3D rendered CGI characters, and I'm like, a little bit.
Right.
I was thinking of what was that, sword and axe or whatever, that live action one.
I didn't play it, you guys did,
but
it was fun.
Was it?
But I thought this was pretty cool. It's 400 points, and so that's still kind of holding me back. But here's the thing, it's got a save option, and you can actually use the save option in the demo.
Nice.
And I highly recommend doing that because that way you can get a little further into the game, because there's a lot of
when it kicks you out,
there is a lot of reading involved. But you can come back to your save file, and at first I'm like, well, that's kind of dumb, people can just exploit this, but no, it actually has an end to the demo in the game that they've crafted in there. That's actually kind of funny.
That's
too
good.
Nice.
So
I'll have to check it out. I'm intrigued now.
It's worth looking at.
It sounds like you should really play that Sherlock Holmes game that I talked about episodes and episodes ago. Because it's totally, that game I totally cheated and totally used to walk through for it the whole time because I didn't want to think about it. But that's what it is. It's all about piecing together these pieces and making hypotheses and making a guess on this stuff and having to put together the case, and that stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
It's just really well done. It sounds a lot like that. So
cool.
Yay.
Hey, did you guys hear about Cthulhu Saves the World Ultimate Edition?
I was going to write it down, and I didn't write the full
thankfully
title.
I remember. Oh, yeah, I didn't write down the full title because it's pages long.
Yes, it's Absolute Edition FX Championship.
A billion things on there,
Special. I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, so they're adding a new... I can't tell if it's a new section or just new characters.
I think it's just new characters.
Cthulhu's Angels, which are 3 new female characters, I'm guessing, including a were-zombie. It was the title of one of them, or whatever. Yeah, so that should be cool. And that's going to be free for people who already have Cthulhu Saves the World. It'll be a free... it's taking the place of Cthulhu Saves the World in the marketplace.
It's just updating.
Yeah, it'll just update it.
I should finish that game.
I should. You really should put more than the half hour that I put into it.
Did you buy it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you really should do more than half hour.
Trust me. There's a lot of things I should do.
I've got $60 games I didn't play yet, so maybe I should
you're beyond help.
Play those as well before I worry about the $3 ones.
We've tried our interventions.
I know. There's no help for me.
Yeah.
Anything but that was else on Indie?
No.
We good?
That's it for me.
All right.
Load.
XBLA.
You want me to kick it off with Battle Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Why don't you?
Because it
Battle Los Angeles. You don't battle Los Angeles. It's colon.
Because it is colon Battle Los Angeles.
Colon battle in Los Angeles.
Super colon
Powell. I can't speak.
Los Angeles.
Yes.
So it's based on the movie by the same title. And it's a first-person shooter, and I don't know. I think the game's going to be better than the movie, just by what I've played so far of it. I really enjoyed some of the things they did with the game, like the comic book type. It's very the screens. What do you call them?
Cutscenes.
Cutscenes. Jesus Christ. The cutscenes are done almost like a comic book. They even have word balloons and things like that. It's kind of like the animated on the web comics.
That sounds cheap.
It is. It definitely is.
Well, they're saving on space.
Yeah. Well, and
full CGI
and not having to make things.
Exactly.
Yeah. They still have voice actors.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I thought it was just you had to read.
The voice actors are there.
And I'm wondering if this is really close to the movie or if it's just a story from the movie. I doubt it. It seems pretty close to the movie.
I heard there is something dealing with civilians and trying to save them in the movie. That is a major plot point.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So I'm thinking this is pretty close to it. And what I've played was fun. I liked the first person aspect of it. It was pretty dumbed down for me. So
So you're totally ruling, is what you're saying?
I wasn't really ruling. I didn't feel that huge of a challenge that I usually do with first person games.
Yeah.
Which I liked. It just felt like a little easy to control. I didn't have the problem I do like with Equilibrium and totally like making myself sick.
Sure.
But I don't know. I wasn't that invested in it.
Yeah, it was decent. But it doesn't really stand out in the first person shooter genre.
I was gonna say, I didn't know
for downloadable titles.
Is it full on like first person shooter? Like, oh, because I haven't followed anything.
It came out
about
on
the game.
a Friday,
and it came out on a weird date, and I didn't care to look.
Yeah.
But I guess I thought it was just going to be some kind of like tarted up downloadable game. I don't know. I didn't know it was going to be like a full like first person shooter.
No. I mean, I didn't even look into it to see if it was. I didn't think if it was like more than a couple players either, like multiplayer. I can't
remember either. I tried the campaign.
$10? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was worth it. The downloads were checking out.
Yeah.
So.
The differential between like the comic book scenes and then going into the first person shooter, I don't know. That wasn't.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah. I don't know. That wasn't my taste, but it wasn't like horrible or anything like that.
Yeah. And I just thought
the voice acting was a little bland.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, we're in detailing over here.
Come on, team. We got. Yeah. Oh, and then the stuff that people were shouting all the time. I don't know how these people keep moving, but like it felt like every 20 seconds someone's like, I got hit.
Yeah. I did like.
How you doing? I took a bullet.
There's some aspects.
What's wrong with you guys?
We're
walking through an alley.
Yeah, there's some aspects of the game I like though. It was like especially probably might have been. I did see the Watchtowers. I didn't. Well, it was some of the stuff that they had going on through the game, like planes falling down, or like just like stuff coming from like the exterior. There's some neat things happening. Like you walk down an alleyway and there's some guy running, and then he gets like gunned down.
I accidentally shot like a gas tank or something and blew up a water tower.
Yeah, and that was the other thing too.
Or accidentally, maybe.
Like a lot of this stuff was reactive. I mean, cars would blow up by you, and I thought that was really walls would be taken down and things like that. It was a very destructive environment as well.
And they mentioned that in the little panels that they show you at the end of the demo, that there's some destruction to be had there. And so that was actually pretty cool. Yeah, I admit when that tanker blew up and the water tower fell over, I'm like, ooh, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and you can like either make things blow up to like take down a bunch of enemies, which I thought was really neat because sometimes the shooting was off on my the sniper I had a problem with a couple times, which I always do. But I don't know, it felt really dumbed down for me for a first person shooter, and just I don't know.
Which is why you loved it.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of fun. The 800 points. I think that's what's holding me back because, I mean, I have a lot of other first-person shooters I don't even play. So
yeah, it was all right.
Yep.
I thought it was decent.
It was definitely probably better than the movie.
Definitely probably better than the movie.
It was better.
How about some Full House Poker? Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Loved it.
Yeah?
I mean, it's...
Craig, did you check it out?
I did not.
Okay.
I don't like poker.
All right.
See, and I like poker. And
because I just end up making that joke all the time. Poker, I barely know her, and then people beat me up. It's not good.
Load.
I
don't know. All right, so
you load her. You brought her.
Full House Poker. I enjoyed it. I like poker, but I suck at it. But I don't care. I'm fully aware of. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy playing it.
Yeah.
But
you're living the poker lifestyle.
I do nonstop, really. The problem for me,
you're wearing your Five Kings shirt right now. I don't even know what that means. I just made that up.
The problem with me and poker and these kind of the world champ.
Could you take the shades off right now, though? Seriously,
no. And my hoodie.
Yes,
that I pulled up. No, because I can't have you guys see my poker face.
Can you make your avatars do tells?
You can.
Yeah.
What?
Seriously? Yeah.
Okay. For fake tells?
Kinda.
Well, it's pretty limited.
If you said it, you can.
One of the things that was in there, one of the things that they put in there is like, you're able to have your avatar kind of show emotion or show action. So you can kind of bluff that way too.
I see.
Where you can be like sheepish about what you're doing, or you can be like really confident. And those are the only two options you have though. And they're kind of pointless in my opinion. Maybe in head to head they're okay, but when you're at a table with 10 people, like you're not looking to see what and who cares anyway? I mean, people are just doing it to do it. There's really no point
I don't
to
think you understand the gamer mindset. What?
In that format?
This is not totally serious?
No, not at all.
I think some are serious.
Well, see, here's what I was trying to get to before. Here's my problem with playing like fake poker like this.
Yeah.
Is that
or foker?
There's no risk. So I play stupid because I don't care.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to take it serious because you can just end up having more money. So, I mean, it's fake money. So who cares if you lose?
Yeah.
And that's why that's the problem that I have.
You didn't read the fine print, did you?
Yeah. It all uses Microsoft points. Good thing they can't take those credit cards off your account. But I've had fun with it. So you can basically play. It's Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
But there is some other options as far as like high-low or split. And then there's also tournament modes. You can go head to head. There's pro takedowns where you just play head to head against preset pros in the game who play certain styles, which usually are pretty, true to what they say how they play.
Don't you win their outfits too?
And then when you beat them, because there's tons of unlocks you can get.
Strip poker? Is that what's going on?
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering.
It is when I play it. We play it together.
With video chat?
We haven't yet, but we will play it with video chat via Kinect, Sean and I, and it will be strip poker.
Awesome. Yes. Wait,
what?
Who's stripping?
I'll show you a full house. That's my taint.
I got
I'll
two
show
pairs.
you the river.
So I don't know what's going on. So
Gross.
And then you can play online as well, or local, by yourself.
Yep.
But you can go up to 10 people, right? Is it 10 per table?
Yep.
And then so you can do tournaments and things like that. And so you move on to other tables and things along those lines. It's fun. I'm having a blast with it.
I've had a lot of fun with it, just as a time suck. I love playing poker. This was one of the things why I wanted to get the liar. I think it was the liar and cheats for Red Dead
for the poker.
Because it allowed online poker.
Right.
But then with this out, and especially my avatar, hell yeah.
Yeah, you because you want to see. You would buy it just as an avatar show off. Showroom.
Too. Yeah.
So your avatar.
And the fact that it doesn't take away anything you're wearing, which I thought was really cool. Like, I went in there, like, you could wear full garb of stuff, and then it doesn't, like some, it will take off your avatar stuff. Like,
right.
But this, no.
And I played...
so you're wearing, like, your Stormtrooper helmet as, like, a bluff blind?
I totally have my, my speeder bike helmet, and then I got my You Don't Know Jack shirt on. And I actually put a watch on, because he looks at the watch... And so I put a watch on so I wasn't looking at my blank wrist all the time. Because I was like, why is my avatar such an idiot?
Maybe you bet your watch last time.
I probly did.
See?
I think my avatar's a drinker.
No! And this is the Microsoft replacement for 1 versus 100 is Spirit replacement, I guess.
Yeah.
It's their new live show that they're doing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So every couple of days or whatever, they have live tournaments. So you jump on with everybody else playing, and then how you perform.
That's why
they're like half-hour sections.
Yeah.
Or half-hour games. And how you perform moves you up tables that are higher stakes. You get more experience, more payout, and it kind of fluctuates. And you get bonuses as well based on how you did compared to other people that are playing. So while you're playing, there's like a hand that, or there's like a total jackpot pot that's there, and your best hand that you got, if it was good enough, it ranked with everybody else, you get a split of that pot.
Oh, okay.
So like if you get a royal flush or something, you would get like a ton. Like if you ever had that hand from beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And that was kind of fun. I jumped on and played some of those last night, a couple of those, because this was the first weekend that they started doing it since the game just came out. But I thought those were fun. There were some connectivity problems I had at first, which I'm assuming is going to be bumpy at the beginning with it. But once I got out of that game and got into another one, it seemed to be flowing fine.
That's good.
It seemed like it was getting filled in with some bots and not people all the time. So I don't know if that was a connectivity problem or what was going on. But it was a lot of fun. I had a blast playing in those live scenarios, and a half hour flew by before I knew it.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was good.
I didn't play any of the hours or the specials, the live games, but I did play a lot of online games.
See, I didn't go any online yet.
And played mostly all ranked
outside of the heat.
Had some fun.
Was it good?
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of green players out there, a lot of impatient players, because there's a lot of heads up going on, like first hand, all in, 3 people, and I just fold,
But see, that goes back to my thing with it not being real money. So people just like, whatever, all in.
Yeah. Right.
All in.
But the thing about it, too, is when you're playing, like, those ranked matches, on some tables, there's buy-ins, and you're only given so many chips anyway, so you want to win chips or you won't be able to play any of those online tournaments because you won't have any chips.
I think you can go negative, though, can't you? I don't think it'll ever block you out. Or is there ones that you can't get into unless you have money?
Because you have to buy in to get into them.
Okay.
And then the prices are higher that way.
So your bankroll will never go to, like, negatives?
I haven't got it to go negative, but it got down
Try
there.
it and let me know.
I will.
No, I'm joking.
But
I guess maybe I thought that they would still let you buy in. It would just go negative reflection. But maybe they do restrict you to not being able to play in those because they have free ones.
And they use that as a score-based is what your pot total is.
Right.
That would make more sense.
But I don't know for sure. Again, because I don't read anything.
Because then you could go in with some hella negative totals and just, I suck.
See, now you were mentioning how because it's not the real money, there's a lot of those people who are be like, all in, whatever.
Like me, yeah.
That could be really annoying. I mean, I agree. There was a game that I played that was a card-based game, and one person in the area that we played with was always just raising it as high as could be because that's what he wanted to do. But then everybody's like, well, we want to kind of play the game out longer.
I agree
or
with
whatever.
you.
And so, yeah.
And that's why I was saying, it was actually, I was making that as a complaint, saying, there's no, option for losing money or, it's not real money, so who cares?
Right.
And those kind of people just are like, ugh, all in again.
Right.
Yeah, great.
Right.
And then, if you don't want to take that risk, then there's nothing you can do but let them do it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Now, what I think works in this scenario is that in tournaments and in the Texas Heat Live, where you're moving up tables depending on the better you do, if you consistently do that, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
So those people are going to, by default, just get weeded out and be at the bottom. And if you're playing seriously, then you're going to start moving up.
True.
And so you're going to get separated just by the way that works and by the way that they filter out those people, which I like.
Yeah.
In the tournaments, those guys are only going to be able to do that so long before they get caught, and then they're out of the tournament.
I like the fact that, because there's times where I played some ranked matches where that was happening earlier on, and I ended up winning out because it's people that play that impatient, play that stupid. They're going to be done with the game right now.
Yeah.
And I sat back and I played the cards right and just had fun with it. I like the fact that I could fold. And it will be like about 5 minutes before the next hand. So I'll go do something. Or I'll pull a comic book out.
Yeah.
I really like that whole nonchalant, just kind of feel of the game. I can put music on while I'm playing it. And just, it's just more or less, I sit there or I'll just do like, because as you level up, you can do like chip tricks with your hands and stuff. So that was fun. So I was doing, I would just sit there doing that the whole time and...
thankfully they do have timers set, like 15 seconds or so when you're online,
which is awesome.
And so if you don't make an action, I think it just has you fold, or I don't remember what it does.
It either has you fold or like
check.
It's a check fold.
Okay, so like check or fold.
Yeah, so like if no one's raising, then you'll just end up checking and then you move on.
And that's good because if you get caught online with somebody who's not doing anything, then they'll at least get. Moving along. Yeah, exactly. I mentioned briefly XP. That is the other big hook of the game, is that you're constantly earning XP for everything you do in the game.
Yep.
Whether you win or lose. Almost every action in the game has an XP tied to it. So even if you fold, it's like, oh, smart fold, and you get 100 points XP or whatever.
Yep.
And you're constantly leveling up, getting new unlocks as far as titles. You can design the place that you play, so the card decks look and the table look, which is superficial. Who cares really? Right. But you can get outfits for your avatar while you're playing, things like that. So and I love that aspect of it because it's everything you do. Online, solo, pro takedowns, whatever, they're all...
Because the addiction of gambling wasn't enough.
That is true. You needed more stuff.
Well, I like the fact that it is no money and that you don't have to worry about that. And it's just having fun. And that was the other thing, too. I got in a couple games with people that were just like-minded as me, and we just sat and played, and you could tell that it was like all of us were playing poker. People were folding earlier if they didn't have good hands, but when someone's winning on an ace high at the end, and I'm like, what? How can 4 people go head to head on an ace high? And that's what wins is an ace high. Right. And you're like, who are you people?
I do love when
8-year-olds.
I do love when you fold and you are not when you fold, but when you get to the end and you have the option, if you didn't win, you can show, or even if you win,
I love
you can choose which way you show the cards. So you can not show, or you can show one or the other, or show them both. Yeah, and that stuff is so fun for me to mess around with. I love that.
I did have a question for the for the tournaments, especially the live tournament.
Hope I can answer it.
What happens if you're knocked out of the tournament? Do you just watch like the highest ranked table?
No, okay, yeah. So what happens is that there's 3 different levels of tables.
Yeah.
And so if you're knocked out at the table that you're on, you're moved to the next table. So you're kind of you're changing positions.
So you continue playing even
correct.
if you lose. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you lose, you're just knocked down a table.
So you're always going to play through the entire tournament.
Correct.
Okay. That was
cool.
kind of what I was wondering.
So you're always in for that half hour or whatever. You just might change tables depending on how your performance is. Another thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the live playing is that it was giving me updates on how my friends did.
Yeah.
So like it would come
like
up
a ticker
while I'm playing. Well, no, but while I was playing, like in between hands,
cool.
It would like pop up and say your friends on live, and it would have like their avatar all big, and it's like, oh, he had this, he won this much in this hand.
Oh,
with
that's
cool.
That's really cool.
Or he doubled down, or he busted and went back to the first diamond table, and I'm like, loser. But it's awesome.
Yeah.
But then what happens is that like I finished. I was at the 3 diamond table, which is the top table, which has the biggest payouts as far as XP and money. And I think it's based on your performance in the week, so that kind of is your placement or how you're doing that day or that night. And I finished first in both of my games that I was on, and it gives you a life preserver. And so when I had that, what happened is I busted out on the table on my second game.
Yeah.
So I would have been moved down to the next table, but I could use my life preserver and buy back in at the 250,000 and stay at that table. So it was like, a second life, basically.
Very
and I
cool.
did that, and then I won that table. But if I would have lost, I would have been back to the double diamond, and then I would have been getting less money or less payout, and I had to build my way back up again.
Right.
So that was interesting. I liked that a lot. I didn't know what that was at first, so that was cool.
Can you dance in your seat? You said it was the spiritual successor to
you can't.
1 versus 100.
You can do chip tricks, but then you do, like, it does animations, but I think it's all on its own. I don't think you can control that stuff.
That's too bad.
I do like when you're playing solo that you can fast forward.
Yes.
If you fold on a hand, you can hit the X button and it fast forwards and it goes through fast motions of the rest of the table play for that hand.
Very
like
cool.
if you're playing multiple people.
Oh.
Like a 10-person game by yourself.
Oh, okay, by yourself.
Yeah, so then you don't have to watch them. It just goes all fast.
I'm like, how do you make the other players play
What
faster?
I don't like is the winning animations they do. They need to be a little shorter because even on those hands, when you fast forward, they show like, first off, they'll show the winner. And then they'll show their hand. So they'll do a little animation with them winning, and then like everybody clapping, and then they'll show their hand, and then everybody will clap and cheer.
Yeah.
And then they'll get their money. And it's like a 10-second process, it feels like. It's probably only about 3, but it feels like so extended out, and it's just a little too much. Like it gets old after you sat there for an hour watching it. So that's my only negative from the game. Otherwise, I think it's fun. For $10, I don't. If you like poker, I think it's a fun way to go.
I've already put my time into it.
And if you have friends, other people that have the game, I think it's even better because it's just going to to be fun to. Like I said, we need to hit up and play that game. I said earlier that we did, but I lied. You talk shit.
I will.
We'll just get in a private chat and then we'll talk shit about everybody else at the table.
I'm going to bluff.
Like this fucking guy again. This fucking guy going all in.
Again.
You got shit, dude. And then we'll bust it out.
Okay. The last XBLA, is that right?
Yeah.
To talk about this week is Torchlight. So you had played a little bit last time, Jeremy.
I have.
I played and purchased the game.
Yes.
Sean, did you try it out?
I tried it out.
Okay. And so I don't think we need to explain.
Is that the end of it?
That might be.
Really?
Sad to say.
What's the deal here, Sean?
It's just
Rap with us.
I can't see you being a big grind fan.
Exactly.
And that's what it is.
And it's
not that kind of grind.
It's the same. It's funny how this game came out, and I really enjoyed the graphics of it. I dug the look.
Yeah.
But after a while, I'm like, I can't do this.
It's I mean, there are times where it's a little too repetitive and a little too chaotic sometimes, and that a lot going on. Part of that is because I started as I guess I can't remember his actual in-game name. Basically, the warrior, the close combat guy.
Yeah.
And so most of my battles were just this big explosion of like lights and numbers flying up. And the only way I could tell if I was actually facing an enemy was if their health bar was at the top, and so I'd be turning around just to find somebody. And so that's there, but I mean, obviously, I liked it enough to play through, and I worked on all the achievements, and I've even started what I guess would be the equivalent of like the rogue or whatever, the archer. And so, I like it. There's not a lot for narrative. They give you just enough to kind of justify why this continues on.
It's really about just getting shit.
It really is just about getting shit. But And so you made comparisons to Deathspank last time, and I mean those have been made when Deathspank came out because Torchlight was out first, and I can see why there are parallels being made. And in terms of narrative, Deathspank definitely, hands down, is much more entertaining overall. But in terms of like the combat system and all the other systems that are available, Torchlight is really has a lot of advantages there. The combat, because you can you have your skill tree and you can assign different skills.
I really like that skill tree.
I liked that a lot too.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and you can upgrade the skills too. And so when I was the warrior, I was focusing on, I had like this spectral armor or whatever, which was basically this big glowing dude that would kind of hover above me, and he would attack on his own.
Wow.
And so that was very helpful in my big chaotic battles when I wasn't sure if I was hitting anybody, because he would definitely attack directly at people. And then I also would do like these auras around me that would cause damage or cause effects to the people around me to slow them down or whittle them down as they're all heaping upon me. And so, I would bump those ones up first, and then I'd go bump up other skills and try things out. I didn't end up using a lot of spells, but that's because I was mostly a brawler and I wanted to get in close combat. But that brings me then to the pets and the usefulness of the pets, because they also attack, and they carry the stuff. They can go sell the stuff in town for you, so you don't have to leave. Although I learned later on that it's actually a good idea to go visit town every once in a while, update your side quests and keep those going.
Yeah.
But what I liked most about the pets was the fact that you could teach them spells. You put a spell in their inventory and then you activate it, and so I had a friggin' dog who was healing me all the time. Between my weapon that was sapping health from opponents and then my dog, which was casting healing spells on the both of us, I rarely even came close to like anything like death. And then, I even rarely had to use stuff like health potions on myself. So that was kind of cool. And then I also gave him, at first he had a fireball spell, but then he had an ice spell. So he was freezing enemies. And then I'd just run over and smash them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I liked that a lot, especially since you're on your own, essentially, throughout the entire thing.
See, at the beginning, you have other people that are helping out. Like you have
a little bit.
And so what I was finding is that I was almost not even doing anything. Like they were pretty much guiding through, like between my dog and the person helping me, and well, even without that person, when I have my dog wolf thing, and then I was playing the alchemist, so I had those two little imps, those nether imp things that he had, and so I would have three things that were basically always fighting for me, and I would pretty much just sit back and throw spells out. But it would be pretty much them taking down everybody before I could even get to them, and it was crazy.
You need better weapons.
Maybe not.
No,
because I wasn't able to do anything. I couldn't get to them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't really have that much with the brawlers so much.
Okay, well, and you're also running right into them, and I'm kind of trying to step back.
Exactly.
So maybe by the time I'm getting up there, they're like already dead.
and I haven't really had that same experience now that I'm going with the ranger. But I also bumped up the difficulty setting just to see how much more difficult it was. So the enemies are probably lasting a little bit longer.
Oh, you know what? I don't know what I'm on. I'm probably on Tard.
No, I think you're on normal because I looked at the leaderboards.
Okay. Tard. Stop spying on me.
I'm not spying on you. I just noticed that everyone was playing normal.
It was a trick. I made that up. My normal setting. You can find stuff out on the internet.
Yes, you can.
It was a fake game, a fake save file.
But in addition to those systems, I also like the item upgrading systems. Yeah. Both in terms of like enchantments and then
I didn't even talk about
slots.
that last time.
Yeah, and so
because I'm dumb.
You can find enchantment wells that will not automatically enchant whatever item, but it either does enchant it or nothing happens. But then there's also the enchanter in Torchlight, the town itself, and then you have a risk, and it tells you a percentage of like losing all the enchantments that are on that weapon if you do it. Yeah.
That sucks.
Because there's 2 achievements tied to enchanting weapons, like one 5 times successfully, which means like not bottoming out, and then another that's 10 times.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but if you get that stuff, I had some amazing weapons that just had
I'll bet
all sorts of crazy shit and 2 slots on them, and it's like, yeah, I'm just rocking this thing forever. And so, yeah, I liked that aspect a lot. There's a lot to do in the game.
There's a lot. I mean, it's a huge time suck.
Yeah.
Because you can totally just get lost in it and keep doing things. And there's always new stuff to find. So many
spiders to kill.
So many spiders to kill. I do like those areas where you'll get into. See, I really like the animation style of some of it. Even though I didn't mention when we talked about last episode, but it does seem kind of pulled back. I know you can zoom in with the camera, but it seems really hard to see some stuff that's on there.
Zooming in is not good either because the walls get in the way all the time.
Right.
I mean, I tried that because I was like, I can't even see where I am, and so I would try to zoom in on battles.
And then sometimes reading stuff, like it's really just seems stuff is small. Like in a lot of areas,
that could be.
And even looking at your like skill tree and some of the stuff is like what, but maybe I'm just an old man. I don't know. But I like those areas you'll walk into and there'll be like a hole in the wall and things will just like fly out of it.
Yeah.
And so like there's just tons of spiders crawling out. I'm like, oh Christ, this is gross.
Visually, I liked it.
Yeah.
I had a kick out of it, but it just
it's not your kind of game.
You really, I mean, you really have to be in it for. Doing the grind.
Yep.
Basically.
Agreed.
Because there's not really anything else to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's got these intricate systems that you can play around with, but all of that is just so that you can continue grinding through.
You have to like grinding and you have to like getting shit.
Yeah.
Like just getting tons of items and.
I have to say, it was a little. It's a little frustrating with the fact that trying to find item sets because some items will have whole sets. And you can often get like bonuses for them, but trying to find those pieces, man, good luck with that.
Because they're just random?
Yeah, because they're just random. Because they just count as rare items, and so they get thrown in with the rare item cycle or whatever.
So you do miss that from like Death Spank.
Yeah, I love putting his whole outfit on. Now I got mismatch armor all over.
And they'd be set places.
I look like I went to the armor flea market.
You did. You went to the wholesale.
I did.
Lame.
So I enjoyed it quite a bit, but it is a lot of repetitive grinding.
But it was 15, right?
Yeah, 15, that one's 15.
1,200 points.
1,200 points.
I mean, definitely there's a lot of gameplay there. If you enjoy what you're doing.
I think I played like 11 hours just on my first play.
At least, right?
My first character, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's 3 different characters that play completely differently.
They do, and
so
that's why I wanted to try out the Ranger, and it does have a very different feel to it.
And with them having those awesome, like pretty in-depth skill trees, like there's also benefit of like, going through those characters and playing them multiple times.
And I didn't mention this, but I think each character, at least the 2 characters that I've looked at, also have the ability to kind of gain proficiencies in their first weaponry, and so for example, if I wanted to, I could make my brawler guy actually decent with some ranged weapons or decent with some spells, and so I could have him like doing 2 different things at once. If you wanted to do that route, that's not the route I wanted to go with, but I thought that was a neat addition there.
Cool.
That's all I got. Yep,
that's all for XBLA.
That's it.
Well, you ready to take the reins on DLC now too?
DLC time.
It's like the Craig hour.
Shouldn't it always be?
Yeah.
So I got
just 1 hour
ilomilo
every 2 weeks.
ilomilo Autumn Tale, which is the DLC that came out for the puzzle game ilomilo. 2 whole chapters. That's like 50% more game.
That is 50%
That's
more game.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, you know what? I guess I wasn't thinking 2 chapters is like 2 full chapters.
No, 2 full chapters complete with bonus levels for each.
Holy shit!
It's 50% more game.
I was thinking like 2 chapters, like like a couple
2 levels. Yeah.
No, isn't it? How much? Isn't it cheap?
Yeah, I can't remember what it is,
but $250
at.
Or was it 5?
I can't remember if it was 5 or 250.
I thought it was less
either
than 5.
Way, I think I have this feeling it was less than 5, but I can't remember, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah, well, but who cares about facts?
Quoted.
Thank God we're not recording this. Oh,
what
shit?
I'm never going to be able to recapture this magic.
So now the puzzle. Some of the puzzles
I said all day.
Some of the puzzles do seem a little simpler, but I think that's mostly because the scope of some of the areas are not quite as huge as I remember some of those last areas being. Because I think we talked about that with ilomilo the first time around, where some of it's just like it's so huge you can't really figure out what's going on.
I know. I'll tell you what. I haven't finished the game because I get irritated.
Oh,
I get mad about it because they're too hard. I'm too dumb. I don't have a problem admitting it.
It's okay.
I like to hear that they're easier.
They are. Well, I think they're a little easier, mostly
but
because
you're smart and I'm not.
Mostly because they're tight. The puzzles are still a little complex. There are times where I would just be like, I have no idea what to do. But then again, like with the main game, I mean, there's not really a lot of gameplay change going on here. So, you know, I would stop thinking linearly and think sort of outside the box. I'm like, oh, it's standing right there in front of me. It's just one move away or whatever to finish this out. And so that's still there. Like I said, there's not a lot that's different. Let's see here. What else? But it is a lot of fun. If you enjoyed the main game, then it's definitely something to check out for you.
Yeah, if you were a fan of the game, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't want 2 more chapters.
Yeah, it's they're ridiculously good. Now, I need to point out that there is a freezing issue. With one of the bonus levels in Chapter 2. I think is the level called Hot Chocolate. Because there also came out with a patch for ilomilo, which I'm guessing was dealing with some of the random freezing issues that they had before. But unfortunately, it seems that this patch breaks that one level, and so when you start it up, it immediately locks up. So what you have to do is you have to clear out your cache, then you can play that one level, finish that level, and then, you know, just download the update again. I mean, because you have to play offline. I mean, you could wait for the patch for this,
just for that level.
But you know how the Microsoft system takes a long time for patches,
right?
And it's just one level, and it's not like it's online competitive or anything like that. It's just you're not going to get leaderboard stuff, but you know. You're not going to get leaderboard stuff with the locking up all the time, are you? So I just wanted to warn people of that. It's one of the last bonus levels, Hot Chocolate, I believe it's called. And so, you know, I looked up online, and everybody's having that same problem. And that's the fix for it. And it worked for me. I finished all of them. And it's actually a fun level. So it's worth doing.
Is there lots of dry humping in it?
Hot chocolate?
Yeah, so as opposed to the hot coffee mod for Grand Theft, which is like the sex.
Oh, I get it now.
No.
See, I can't figure out puzzles.
I don't know. They do that little dance when you get ilomilo back together.
Maybe
I have no idea what happens afterwards.
We can go back to that. Anyway,
don't soil their.
I can't figure out puzzles. I can just make puns. That's all I can do.
That's your defense mechanism. Yes. Jeremy, figure out this puzzle.
I'm an idiot.
I'll puzzle you.
What? Exactly. Done.
I win.
Boom. And then I drop the mic.
Exactly. But yeah, like we said before, if you're a fan of the ilomilo game, you should definitely check it out. 50% more game for, at the very least, 50% of the cost of the original game.
That's crazy. So, that's awesome, though.
Yeah, definitely cool. I also checked out Dead Space 2 Severed, which is the DLC for Dead Space 2.
I have not.
Oh, let me spoil it for you.
But I ran through the game like 2.5 times in a weekend.
Well, okay, so I'm not going to spoil everything.
Don't spoil it. But I want to hear about it.
But here's
don't ruin it.
Here's kind of a general breakdown of it. So you're not playing as Isaac.
Spoilers. Oh, great. Done. I'm not playing.
That's in the write-up.
I'm never gonna play this now.
So you're not gonna play it anyway.
I know,
because you're a pussy.
I am.
So you're playing some other character in the space station, and all this is happening at the same time as Dead Space 2.
That's really cool.
But you're like on the other side of the space station, so you're in areas. It reuses maps, but you're going the other way through the maps, which actually
that's awesome.
Yeah, it ends up being really cool. At first I'm like, well, that's kind of lame, but then I'm like, oh wait, I don't really know how to deal with this situation because I'm used to being up there instead of down here.
Yes.
And so you start on the other end of the station before Isaac has gotten there, and then later you go to like the first area after Isaac has left, and you can totally see like the carnage that you leave in Dead Space 2 left behind all around. And so it's really cool. It's very combat heavy. You start off with a plasma rifle, which has a few nodes already attached to it, and so it's heavily.
That's what I was wondering how they
use
do
the plasma rifle
on such a short DLC with a new character. Like, how would they
2 chapters,
give you like any kind of weapons to make you competitive in that environment?
I mean, you start with a plasma rifle and then that sort of sniper rifle thing, and then you find a flamethrower, and you can get a plasma cutter for free. But since it already had nodes in it, you also get respec. Which you can spend 5,000 credits to take off all the nodes from something. So if you really wanted to use those nodes on something else, you could spend 5,000. That's half a node right there.
Do you start with like decent armor too?
Yeah, you start okay with armor. Actually, I don't think you change armor throughout.
Okay, so you start with an armor.
Yeah, you start with an armor, and yeah, it doesn't have any nodes in it, I don't believe, but you can upgrade that, and you need to upgrade it because, like I said, it's pretty combat heavy. One of the achievements is for going through with at Zealot level, and that was pretty tough going, but it was pretty awesome as well. And you need to get over the whole thing about keeping one note on hand to open doors, because there's none of those doors.
Okay,
you're not an engineer. You don't need to open the engineer doors or anything like that.
Thank you for that spoiler.
Yeah, no,
because I don't want to waste.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because I got to the end and I'm like, I got this extra node. I've always had one extra node.
Exactly.
What's going on here? No, I kind
They've trained you for 2 games.
I kind of figured it out halfway through, and I'm like, I'm not sure I need to be holding on to this anymore. Story is pretty awesome. A lot of great action, or big action scenes going on. Very frenetic with all the battle. And yeah, I really recommend it. If you like Dead Space 2, then you really need to be checking it out.
All right.
And I think taking it away from Isaac and putting it in the same setting, kind of happening at the same time, I thought that was a really brilliant idea.
That's really cool.
And really engaging. And so, really awesome stuff.
I'm going to do it.
Do it.
And then we'll have a separate private chat for it. Like a 5-minute private chat.
5-minute private chat.
That part was awesome.
I like to start with the pulse rifle and plasma rifle. Can't remember because I know you guys love that rifle, but I never really used it that much.
Oh, is that what the
triangle?
Hell yeah, that thing was the best.
I never used that much.
Yeah,
I actually didn't like it because it was harder for me to cut things because it doesn't fire a line. That's why I relied on the plasma cutter.
I just put a ton of bullets into everybody and don't care.
Yeah, but then I burned through my ammo.
I play it on baby mode.
And ammo can be, you need to conserve your ammo in this DLC. So
oof,
watch out. So
I'm not good at.
Well, when I was going through on Zealot, I was just trying to remember the TK, necromorph spikes through things as much as possible.
Oh yeah,
because that helped out. That helped out quite a bit, and it wasn't so bad. And because you also kind of want to save some of that ammo for grenades for the big guys to take them down quicker, because grenades are your friend with that plasma rifle. But very cool stuff.
Cool,
awesome. I'm gonna check it out.
Do it.
I will.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
And there's the hedging.
Sometime. You're never gonna have time, man.
I might watch a YouTube video.
I'll play it before you play.
That might be true.
Yeah, because it does sound interesting. I mean, and
it's only
really
2
cool.
chapters.
That's really neat.
And oh no, there are the babies, but they aren't
babies.
They aren't featured. They just kind of pop out once in a while.
Great.
Should we touch back on some Bulletstorm?
Bulletstorm. Yeah.
Don't touch my Bulletstorm.
We talked about that last episode.
I got to finish it. I got to go through
the campaign.
The campaign. At the end of it, I was really happy with it, and I've gone back and I'm playing it on a harder difficulty.
Awesome.
And I'm having a lot of fun.
You don't do that a
with
lot.
I don't, and
so that's good.
This game, I thought the campaign was pretty. I got through it pretty fast. Once I put, as you sit down and put, play it. I was taking too many breaks here and there, but having a lot of fun the second time through. Just looking at the environment more, just paying attention to the story a little bit more, and having fun. I really dug the story. Really liked the ending and had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So.
Yeah. We'll need to talk about it off mic because I don't want to ruin it for people. But I have some problems with the end.
Yeah,
I don't like the direction.
What surprise!
I know. I know. Well, and something I totally forgot. I'm glad you had something to say about it because I forgot to mention the last episode when we talked about Bulletstorm, and that was a point that I had with an issue playing through the game, and that was, why is your teammates no help at all?
Oh, yeah.
Or why are your teammates no help at all?
I liked it better the first time.
It would lead it to a co-op type of scenario, which I don't know. That's my biggest drawback, like my biggest gripe that I have with the game is I really like the 4-player. I like that multiplayer aspect.
Why isn't there co-op in this game?
They certainly could have a co-op, especially since you're never really ever alone.
Correct.
Because once you are, then you gain another person.
Yeah.
So
you always have at least 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
So my question though is, like, you're playing through and you have 1 or 2 people and they don't do shit.
No.
Well, like, they shoot and don't hit anything. People run past them. And they won't turn. They'll just turn and stare at you, and the people will run past them, completely ignoring them.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but a large percentage of the
Yeah.
time.
I can understand that being frustrating. As sort of a advocate for maybe why is because it's based on doing skill shots.
Yeah.
And so, you
can't have the AI taking
you don't want the
everything.
AI headshotting something off of your setup skill shot. So
Yeah.
But then it seems pointless that they're hanging out.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, they're there for the narrative part of it,
Right,
and to keep moving along. But that's where it almost feels like it should be co-op if they're going to be hanging around.
Yeah,
because it's just they're pointless. They just stand there.
Yeah.
And everybody runs past them. And I'm like, seriously, dude? I got like 3 dudes on me. Can somebody shoot one of them?
Typical Saturday night for you, huh?
Well, yeah. So to speak.
Oh, yeah. I load. I dig that. I dig the game.
Yeah.
I've been having fun with it, playing through a second time, which I don't, like you said, normally do. So
you don't.
Yep.
So good for you.
Yeah, it's been
good
fun
for you, Sean.
I can't wait to control the giant thing again.
Spoilers.
Had some fun with that.
The giant dick.
There you go.
What?
Load.
Oh, that is the game. I'm surprised he doesn't have a huge dong that he hits people with.
It's a lasso.
Wow.
That big thing that you control.
Spoiler.
That's been a month now. Come on, people.
You should have gotten to that point.
Get over it. What, you?
I haven't played it.
You don't care about spoilers?
I know.
I'll tell you the first part of that game.
I'd be like, that's awesome. I can't wait to do it.
Not having like the whip and having all that stuff.
Oh, starting over?
Yeah, it was a little fun. I mean, I was like, oh crap, I got to go and actually do something. I have to shoot these people.
I bet it was jarring.
Yeah, because it was just like you get used to pulling people and through your set motions. But like I said, having played a lot more the versus or the online, I was like, that helped me out in the later part of the game.
Cool.
I saw myself getting a lot more points, and I was able to upgrade or buy more weapons and things like that because I used the practice that I had with the multiplayer.
Right.
So, and I thought that was awesome.
Cool.
Like trying to kill people without using my weapons was pretty fun. So awesome.
Yay. Well, I got a couple here that I probably don't have a lot on,
okay,
but I can at least talk a little bit about. And first would be Fight Night Champion.
Yeah.
Which I've played the other Fight Nights, and they've been usually pretty straightforward, just boxing. You go through your career and do a boxing thing. So I was kind of expecting the same thing. I didn't try the demo for this ahead of time. So I picked it up. I was expecting the kind of same thing, but it doesn't even give you an option at the start. It just
goes right in.
It begins.
Kind of like that NBA game.
Yeah, it was exactly like that.
Yeah.
Where you just start and all of a sudden you're doing a boxing match. And I don't even know any of the controls yet at this point. But it kind of gives you, as it's coming up, like, move around and do this stuff. And you control everything with the stick this time around. I don't remember it being as precise last couple of games, which I think you had to do some kind of like Street Fighter bullshit where you're like, half circles and down and around and that kind of stuff. And it's really not that way this time. It's whatever direction you hit it in. If you go to the top right, you're doing that right jab.
That's awesome.
If you do the bottom right, you're doing the body punch. And so an uppercut, I think, was kind of just a half circle or whatever. But it was a lot more fluid. I mean, it felt like what you would do with your arms, and you just did it with your thumb on the stick, and it was really responsive.
Cool.
You could do that, or there was also the buttons on the side that did it. But I'm getting ahead of myself on the controls anyway. So it just starts in the game, and so there's this story mode that's in the game that I wasn't aware that because I completely removed myself from any information because I'm a dork.
Come on.
I like to go in with no expectations. How about that?
There you go. That's better.
So it's a fresh slate.
It's better than your low expectations.
And that's usually when I leave too, is a fresh slate. My mind.
You're like, don't sully my slate. I just cleaned this one.
So I didn't know what to expect, and it was awesome. You play as Andre Bishop is the dude you play, and
spoiler.
You just basically go through his career and through his life as a boxer from the beginning when he's playing the Olympics and to the end when he's doing his first professional fight, and all through those time frames. And it's done like a movie. I mean, it is totally a straight. I mean, so it's full of tons of like boxing movie cliches and movie cliches.
Yeah.
But it's really, really well done.
Awesome.
And the voice acting is awesome. They had to do actual acting, like motion capture acting, because the way that the people interact with each other and the way that they like their expressions are and the way that they move is like just totally natural, like people that are moving around within a space.
Awesome.
And it's really well done. So in between all these fights, you'll have these cutscenes that are multiple minutes long, and then it'll go to another fight. You'll take over control, do the fight, and at the end it'll go to another cutscene, and it's just that for the entire length of the thing, of the story mode. It's kind of short. It doesn't seem very long. I got to the last guy. Well, I think it was the last guy, and I couldn't get past him, so I gave up because I got mad. I'll tell you about that in a second.
You threw in the towel.
I totally did. Throw the damn towel. That's totally what it was. But
he told you not to do that.
It was unexpected and it was awesome. And what I really liked as you were going through, I kind of just got into the mode of like, doing the punches, and this is where the controls come in, where as far as doing the thumbstick, the side buttons also controlled like, high, low, high, low. There was a modifier if you did the trigger, I think it was. If you pulled that, it would do the body punches, so you kind of crouch and do the body punches with the buttons. The bumper button is what you did with your power shot. So there wasn't like a specific power move. If you held the right bumper and did your hitting, it was all of a sudden now you were doing power shots, and those would use up more of your stamina.
Sure.
Nice.
But it seemed like a really good
haymaker.
It seemed like a really good balance of the stamina endurance stuff, because you couldn't just go in and throw punches nonstop. I mean, if you did that, you would lose because you get winded. Yeah. And so there was a lot of requirement of blocking and kind of backing up and taking a step back and doing counterpunch stuff. And they really trained you on that as the game went along. It wasn't. I remember some other fight nights where I went out and I could just throw the same like 2 power shots and be done in like 2 seconds. And that wasn't the case with this game.
That's cool.
And especially in the story mode, because you got into some rounds where things would happen and they would change the conditions of the match. So on one of them, for instance, you hurt your hand, like break your hand, your right hand. So for the rest of the match, if you hit with your right hand, your health will go down. And so eventually you'll get knocked out. So you have to basically fight the whole round, the whole match with your left hand.
Jesus.
And now they like want to make a statement, so you have to like completely take out the guy and not just win by points. So you have to knock him out. So it's like they do that in a couple different rounds. Like, oh, this guy does this, or he does really powerful body shots, so don't let him hit your body. So you have to protect your body. Or it's kind of like Tyson's Punch-Out style, where they give you like the weakness of the guy, and so they kind of let you focus on it. But it was awesome because it let me kind of train myself. All leading up to the end, when you get to that last guy that I think that you have to fight.
And then they're like, we don't give a fuck.
Well, no, what happens
is
do it yourself. This guy's he's Drago, so he's like the fucking monster, and so he comes in and just pummels you. So you have to basically, the first 2 rounds, you just have to survive. And that means don't get hit. Yeah. So I'm like not punching, I'm just like trying to avoid, and you do that for like 2 rounds, and then for the next 3 rounds, they're like, oh, for the next 3 rounds, hit him in the body. Okay, great, but also try not to get killed. So I just couldn't get past. I mean, I was like, I think I even knocked it down to the easiest level, and I couldn't get past it. And I was just getting frustrated because you'd have to go through all those rounds, and I was just getting bummed out.
It sounds like an updated like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Yeah,
just the whole story base and some of the guys that you're boxing. I hated Tyson. He was the worst. I could never beat him at the end. I couldn't.
Exactly.
I could get to him, but I could never beat him. But
so then, in addition,
that's pretty sweet.
In addition to that, which it starts you off with, there's the regular career mode where you can make a guy and go through.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't do much for me because it's still just a generic. You start at the beginning, your guy sucks, and you build up your skills.
Yeah.
And it kind of just feels like the same, match to match to match. And there's no, with that story mode, it's like a bad contrast because here's like a story mode that's done really well, and then this other one is just like match. Yeah. And there's no story going on there. It's just you training your dude, which kind of is boring at this point for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then there's, of course, legends in the game, and you can make up your own fights and do those, and there's online play. But I didn't do any of the online stuff, and I didn't go in and just do like random legend matches or anything. I spent most of my time in the story.
That's
I did a little bit of the career, but I didn't end up doing much more than that. I didn't find a need to beyond the story, which was really well done.
I almost feel like I should have rented that instead of Yoostar. Because I mean,
oh yeah, you have that. We skipped over your Kinect corner. I'm sorry.
Well, we didn't skip over it. I segue. I'm a segwayer.
Go for it. So yeah, I highly recommend. I think you would like that story mode a lot.
And I
think you'd be totally into it.
The controls are. I really like the whole. The last fight night, I think I played had that, and I thought the joystick control, which I thought was really.
This seems even more simplified to me,
and that is awesome.
But still, like you have control over it with the modifiers.
EA did that with a lot of their games when they switched to joystick controls. The hockey was that way too. Where they switched over, and it was almost too complex the first time, and then they kind of simplified it.
And
they
find a way to like tune it.
Exactly.
Get it easier.
So
cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Cool. So I think you'll like it.
I'll definitely have to look at that one.
I think you'll like the story mode a lot.
That's awesome.
Because it's well done.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your Kinect game, though.
Yoostar 2. I didn't know about the first one.
Yeah, is it the first one a Kinect game, too?
No, first one must have been just the camera, the Xbox camera.
Vision.
Well, it's not You're in the Movies, is it?
It's, essentially like that.
So did they just make it that?
Maybe
did they retcon it?
Maybe they did. Maybe it is You're in the Movies, but they changed it to Yoostar.
Maybe.
Yeah. But essentially it's karaoke friggin', but movies.
For acting.
Using the Kinect. And
Do they give you movie scenes that you do?
Yes.
Like famous movie scenes?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
So they're like, redo this, like, taxi driver scene.
Yeah.
I love it.
The first one I had was Blues Brothers.
Did you fuck my wife? they do the Raging Bull one?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't got that far
I bet they don't.
But they might. But
Blues Brothers?
They had the Blues Brothers, and it was
Were you driving a car through the mall?
No, I wanted that scene because that would have been the best. Because I would have been like, "Whoa, look at that! Whoa, look at that!" But it was a part where Elwood does the whole spiel about we're 109 miles from Chicago, full tank of gas, blah blah blah. So I'm the Belushi character, and I follow the script like to a T, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, and so I'm like. I'm totally ad-libbing and having fun. So, like, the minute he gets in the car, I turn to him like, I lost my hat. and then he's like going through his whole spiel, and I'm like shaking my head, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, hit it, and I get like box office smash, I don't know how they score this thing.
That's awesome.
But I've been having
a lot They just make it up.
I think so. I think it's a lot like the lips.
It's as long as you have fun. They don't care.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that motion actually adds to the score because they probably want you being more involved rather than just kind of standing there.
Well, they had another scene from, I'm assuming Balboa. I'm assuming whatever the last Rocky movie was called.
Okay. Wasn't it Rocky?
I don't know. It had that one weird lip guy from Heroes was in it.
Yeah.
And he's like his son.
I
so they're having a back and forth, which is great. So I was the Rocky character.
Oh, nice.
Or Rocky. And I'm like, why are you yelling at me? The only problem I have with this game,
oh man,
they have it so you can upload Twitter, Facebook, things like that. I don't know how to do it.
Good.
And that upsets me because there's like a couple of those that Rocky one and that Blues Brothers one I want to put up and I want to share them. But once I figure it out, I'll let everybody know on the
Is there an instruction
forums.
manual?
Well, it tells you to go to Yoostar.com.
So I go to Yoostar first. Yeah.
I know, but I go there and it's like it's all like video. So I don't know what it's weird. Like it doesn't tell you just to register.
Yeah.
And I'd expect that's how it would, and then it would sync up to your Xbox and blah blah blah. But I've uploaded two of my little movies, so hopefully I'll get. Hopefully, I was hoping to get them out, and I was having problems with it last night again, and I just I'm doing it all from my phone too, so I mean it's hard for me to trying to figure things out. But I had a lot of fun with it.
So you recommend to check this game out?
If you have a Kinect, I recommend trying it out, especially as a party game, just to have fun. I think the other one I did was like an Apollo 13. And I'm like, oh shit, the place is burning, So, I mean, it's like those, like, at first I actually did it really to get the points.
Right.
But then I realized there's a couple that, like.
How does it work, though? Like, is it really well done? Like, the way that it places you in the stuff?
It actually has a little, it will show you a little thing that you have to put yourself in. And you can either set yourself up close, far back, or, and it's
so when you watch it at the end, like, so you do it and then do they show it again?
Yeah.
Like they replay it?
Oh, yeah.
And does it look really well?
It looks
done.
Other than like once in a while you'll get some like around your outline.
Yeah.
You'll get some like what's behind you.
Okay.
So especially if it's like a dark, but like that one I did where I was just sitting, like if you sit just straight and don't move too much, then it's fine. And it has a little bit of a, a cell around you, but I found myself having to wear a hat too because my hair would break it up.
Oh, okay.
So.
And so now you can save them.
Yeah.
After you do them,
you can save them,
and then like you can go in and watch them at any time.
Yep.
In the game. Okay, because it seems almost to me like it'd be more fun to do them and then show them to other people later.
Oh yeah.
Like when they're not in the room.
Yeah.
So like it's like, oh, look at this that I did.
Well, that's the thing. I go, you got to see that Summer was just
that's what I'm saying.
Dying
because it probably wouldn't be like if you're there in the room and everybody's watching.
Yeah.
It's like you already saw it. But like if you show somebody and it's like, look what I did like last week.
And that's what like the one where the kids yelling, because that kid's yelling at Rocky, just yelling at him, and I'm like, why are you yelling at me?
That's funny. I want to see this.
And it's like outside, and I'm like wearing a t-shirt, so I'm acting like I'm cold, and I'm just some guy on the street that he's yelling at. But definitely,
you better not be overselling this to me.
I've only done like 2 or 3 of the little movie, but I haven't played too much of it.
So what else is in it?
There's a ton of movies in there.
Okay.
Like a ton.
Is that all it is though? Is just redoing these scenes?
Yeah, and well, like you have like
Can you create like a generic scene?
I know they have just plain backdrop scenes because there's like the State of the Union one, and there was no like you ad-lib the whole time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, don't know what I'm supposed to do. State of the Union. Blah,
they didn't
blah,
actually
blah.
have like Obama's speech to read.
No, they didn't have anything.
That'd be fun.
Well, I mean, not a
It's 2 times I fell asleep on this episode.
But I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it's what you make of it type of thing.
Right.
And I thought the video came back looking pretty good as long as you just kind of didn't overreact or get kind of crazy.
Cool.
But I did like a CSI one too because they have CSI. So like I was being all like cheesy.
Yeah.
CSI. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. A lot more fun than I thought. I thought it was just going to be me making fun of it on the show, but it was fun.
But there you go.
But it's just I don't know. It's cool. It's worth checking out.
All right. Well, how about some Homefront? I played a little bit of that.
Can we have some home fries instead?
No. Well, I would wish actually. So this is another one I wasn't following a lot. I know a lot of people. There was quite a bit of buzz about the game beforehand.
Right, yeah.
I know you guys were talking about being interested in checking it out.
Yeah.
I kind of was just staying away from everything about it. I was going to play it. I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like with the whole like Red Dawn type scenario. And
Yeah.
it's the same
It's
writer.
written by the same guy. Yeah.
So it takes place in 2027.
Something like that.
And it's basically Korea, the unified Korea, North and South, have invaded the U.S. and are occupying it and taking it over.
Are Koreans the new Nazis? North Koreans?
They might be.
The new Nazis? Because there was that indie game fighting against North Korea, too.
I saw that.
Yeah.
We're just trying to piss them off and rile them
I
off.
guess so.
And get them all mad.
We're like, we need more war.
So here's the thing. When the game starts, I really like the setup, and I really like the way that they introduce the way that everything has happened in the game and the history they've given it. Because they start with the actual press conference with Hillary Clinton from whenever that ship was attacked.
Yeah.
That was just this last year. Sometime it wasn't not too long ago.
So, yeah.
Confirming that it was an attack, hit from Northern Korea, and so that stuff is like it lends legitimacy to like the story that they're building at this point. And so they go off of that and they springboard into this other stuff of the collapse over the years and like the Koreas unifying, occupying Japan and taking them over and it spreading to the U.S. and the U.S. spiraling out of control as far as like gas prices and basically just going into riots and things like that, and eventually they take over. And I really like that opening segment, and I thought that was really well done. I like the concept a lot. The gameplay for me is just kind of blah.
Really,
it really doesn't do anything for me that any other shooter doesn't do. And in fact, I think it's actually kind of a little bit behind. From the last Battlefield, the last Call of Duty. It just doesn't seem on the same level graphically. Really? It seems a little bit back. It's not terrible. It's not bad by any means.
Sure.
But it's just, even when you shoot people and like their animation, like the blood that comes out, it looks like a little spurt of like ketchup. And it's just really, it's weird looking. There's something unnatural about a lot of the stuff that's in the game movement wise.
How would you compare it to like Metro 2033? Because that was a little, the shooting was a little behind in that one too.
I don't know if I remember enough.
Okay.
But
because I really liked Metro 2033.
Yeah.
But it was mostly the story.
Yeah.
Graphically, because that one also, I guess, was a little bit.
I mean, that was the criticism.
It looked a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
it
couldn't keep up with the headliners for.
That's kind of what this feels like.
Shooters. I mean, it's kind of impossible for a new IP to immediately be up there.
I agree with you, and that's kind of what this feels like. It feels like just a couple years old is what it kind of looks like. Okay. For me, though, and to use your Metro 2033 again, it doesn't have the pull that had on the other side, which is the story.
Right.
Because for this. The story is interesting, and I do like the idea and the concept that they're using, but it's, I don't know, getting from point A to point B is just more of the same kind of thing. You run through, shoot a bunch of people, run through, shoot a bunch of people. And
most of it's protecting this convoy. Is that what I've heard.
You know what? I didn't get that far, so I haven't got to that part yet even. But it's a pretty short game.
Yeah.
I just didn't get much time with it as of yet.
Sure, 5 hours.
Yeah, I've heard that it's just a couple of hours, or a handful of hours.
Well, you know, the first-person shooter genre, I think they're forcing multiplayer more.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's what everybody's saying about the multiplayer on this is that it's it's team-based,
right?
And it seems like there's a lot of... I haven't gotten in and done a lot with the multiplayer as of yet, or any. But it seems like what I've heard or seen is that it's really team-based.
Right.
It's as far as like not getting all the kills yourself. It's like the team doing well and getting points for those and then using those points to upgrade things in the game, which sounds interesting. I like that idea. I just haven't jumped on and played any of the multiplayer as of yet, which I don't know. So here's the other thing about the other problem that I had with the game, and it's weird for me because I usually don't have this problem, but it's almost too grisly.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what it is.
Too much ketchup?
No, it's not that. It's the idea and the themes of what's going on, some of the things that happen in the game. And this isn't a huge spoiler, I mean, because it happens right at the beginning, but you're on a bus being taken, like a detainee, and there's the scene where you're coming around the corner, and of course people are getting arrested and, bags on their heads and basically detained out on the thing. But then also you come around this corner and there's like a kid crying, like a toddler, and then people are like shooting his parents, and then he gets up and he's crying and he runs over to his dead parents and he's crying like all loud, and I'm like, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah,
like I know it's supposed to be terrible, but it's fucking terrible.
Yeah,
like I know people had that reaction to some of the stuff that was in even Dead Space, like when the baby cries, I heard that from a couple people as far as like, it didn't need to be there. And that was kind of, and that to me is like completely science fiction. And that was like a completely fictional story. This shit happens. Yeah. Like this stuff that I'm seeing right now, like when people are shooting their parents and like, kids are there, that shit happens right now. That's a real world scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to see that. I think there's a difference for me that needs to be like a fictional thing to be able for me to separate it.
Sure.
I don't really want to see shit that it really happens in a game and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I don't know. It struck me bad. Maybe I'm just a huge pussy, but I was like immediately I was like, I don't really want to play this now.
Yeah.
Like it's just too much of a bummer.
Right. Yeah. Right. I can understand that. Yeah.
But I don't know. It seemed unremarkable to me as far as like the gameplay. I wasn't doing anything right now that I haven't done in a lot of other shooters.
Right. Sure.
Outside of the story.
Right.
And also, I do have a huge problem. And I don't know if this is being mentioned by a lot of people or if it's just a problem with me. The walking is super slow.
I've heard that from other people.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because it is retarded. Like, you barely move.
Yeah.
And I just start to wonder if that's like, are they even trying to stretch it out to make it even longer just by making you move slow? Because it is ridiculous how slow you move.
Well, because you don't walk in combat situations. It's just when you're kind of putzing around for other sort of areas. Is that right?
Well, yeah, but even when you're like in the combat scenarios, if you're not running, your walk just feels really sluggish.
Oh, okay.
So that is sluggish. But then in the other times when you're just like walking at a regular pace.
Right.
It is super slow and you can't run.
Right.
So there'll be like a hallway and there'll be a collectible at the end of it. And it is the longest like 2 minutes of your life that it feels like to like walk from one end to the other to pick up this thing.
Yeah.
Then you turn around and you see your group and you got to walk back to them and you can't move any faster. And I'm like, seriously.
You can't turn around and do the quick jump out of the way.
You can't.
Like in Love Hurts.
Nope.
I wouldn't be surprised if they slowed down the walk just a little bit so that you're paying attention to more environmental things here and there.
I like your less cynical look at
it. Since that is...
Because I'm totally like, those fuckers are just stretching out this game by making me not move fast.
We've seen lots of games that don't care.
That's true.
Why would
Kane Lynch?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I still have the game. I'm gonna probably continue to play it and finish it out because I don't think it's gonna take very long. I'd like to jump into multiplayer, so maybe I'll have more next time to talk about that. But I don't know. I'm kind of just blah on it.
Yeah, I'm hoping to try it out because that was the one thing I was wanting to play it and just couldn't get to it. Just the story was what enticed me.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole the mixing of the medias and having like the stuff that we've seen and then having future stuff.
It is
very
rough.
Interesting. So
I like alternate future kind of like that kind of storytelling. So I like that, but it is kind of a rough story.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Legend? No. Dragon Age 2.
Yes, that is what we got left, right?
Let's finish up with Dragon Age 2. Yes. I've never played any of Dragon Age Origins.
I played I played barely the first one. I played barely any of Dragon Age.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get into it.
Just a forewarning, if I say anything and you're like, that's the most ridiculous thing in the world, Craig, it might be because of that. But
me too.
That said,
and that applies to anything I said before this.
That applies to my life.
I've never played anything ever. So if I say anything
ever,
what, that has RPG in it? No.
RPG?
You played Dragon Age 2?
I did play Dragon Age 2.
We're all in on this.
Yep. You did play Dragon Age 2?
I know, right? Yeah. That was my response. I sent him. I was looking for something else on Xbox.
I wasn't very vocal about it.
I saw he was on playing Dragon Age 2 and he was up to level 5, and I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know you got this. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you so secretive?
Always taking one for the show. I thought I'd try it out.
Load.
Give it a little try. No, Load was all me. That wasn't for the show.
I was talking about something else. That's just the go-to answer now.
I take that one.
All right.
Every time.
So what was your response, Sean?
I think I wrote in my show notes, see Torchlight.
Oh.
I had to kind of...
No.
No.
You're high.
No, I'm not high. I have the same...
I think he's talking about his reaction.
I know.
It was just my reaction. It's just I enjoyed the look of it. I had fun with it, but the story never grabbed me.
Wow.
It never got to a point where I'm like, I want to know what's going on.
Interesting.
There's something about it. I felt very displaced
if I could put my finger on it, maybe it would be that there's a lot of foreign concepts and
I thought you were gonna say foreign people.
There's a lot of foreign people, and Sean hates
I hate
everybody that's different than him.
Yes.
No,
especially people to the north of me.
Concepts and terminology. So it's almost like a Tolkien kind of thing where they made up their own terminology for some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of Mass Effect too, where they made this whole history of these people. So it took me a while to adapt to it and to kind of get what some of these words meant and some of the people that they were labeling meant. And so did you have a problem with getting into the story that way?
No.
Because I had to get acclimated to it basically and kind of figure out what was going on since I didn't have the history of the first game to play off of.
Yeah.
Well, I find that surprising mostly because one of the things that really stood out for me is that this game succeeds where a lot of other RPGs, console or PC based, get in the close area of, but they don't quite succeed as much as this. And that's in terms of allowing you to role play in an RPG, in the role-playing game, to actually be able to take control of the story. You guide the story, and it's kind of centered around your decisions. And the decision-making in this was fantastic.
I agree.
Absolutely fantastic, in my opinion, because one thing, you're stuck with a lot of really hard decisions. There were a lot of times where I'm just, because I was getting into role playing my character, and I started off with a rogue, Arwen Hawk, and she was looking out for herself, and she would joke and laugh in the face of danger or whatever, but she cared about her family and friends. And so then I get into these situations where it's where I could do something that's really kind, or I could do something that would profit me. And so there was one situation where I was meant to make sure the smuggling exchange went off okay, but I got there too late, and they had already killed a bunch of the kids that were handling the merchandise, and so I killed the thieves, and there's one kid left, and he's all like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, blah blah blah, and then he's like, I gotta feed my sisters, and my parents were killed by Darkspawn, and I'm like, and they take a second to look over at the treasure chest, and then it comes back to me, and I'm like, shit. And so it's I could tell him to go run off with the cash, or I'd be like, well, that's your problem. And I sat there for 2 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, I could steal this too, and then pretend like somebody else took it. And then I'm like, no, that's not what you would do. Tell him to take the money. And so he ran off with the money, and then they didn't get paid, and I was pissed.
Wow.
And then that kid was at the bar later. No, I wish. That'd be awesome.
But he did send me a letter later saying, thank you. My sisters are working as maids now in these nice houses.
Whores.
And,
yeah.
And I'm a
pimp.
I've learned how to be a shepherd and all that. I'm like,
shepherd.
This is all codes. We're breaking it down.
I'm a shepherd.
You need a Sean in your party.
Exactly.
Take the money, bitch.
But there are lots of cool choices, and then things where it's like, I have no idea. You know, I had these options, and I'm like, well, this is a hard choice on top of that. But then I have no idea how this is going to fall out, because I learned pretty quickly that your decisions have impacts later on. You know, even small things. And this gets into another thing that I thought was really cool, which is the dynamic elements of the friendship. And again, you know, this is a difference because I was comparing a lot to Mass Effect, you know, which is another BioWare game, and of course there's a lot of comparisons there. And some of it might just be the dynamic, because with Mass Effect, you're the captain of the ship. And so, you know, I was always feeling like I needed to keep my crew happy because they're my crew and, you know, that's my job, whatever. But here it's just, you know, I disagree with people, but we still maintain friendships and all that. And that's through, you know, careful balancing. But then, you know, they, just like with friends, they'll get pissed off at you sometimes, and then you'll be buddies again and whatever. Like there's one thing that was like this heirloom, but it was also equipment. And so then I found like better equipment later. I'm like, well, and I think I remember thinking this for a second. I'm like, oh, this is kind of a dick thing to do, to just sell this sentimental piece of equipment. But I'm like, but otherwise this character's going to die probably in battle. And so I'm like, all right, well, we'll have to do that. And then later it was totally thrown in my face. Like, oh, like you cared about when you sold blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, shit.
See, that's awesome.
And I felt bad.
Shame. See, that stuff is like, I think that's awesome about RPGs. The problem I have is that I'm a big fan of controlling the actor, not being the director either. I'll control the actor, but I have a hard time like making like decisions. Give me a script.
Oh, I see.
And I'll act off of it.
You don't want to have
I don't want to have to go, okay, well, here you go.
Right.
Because that's the problem I have with the game. It pulls, well, it's not that, it's just, it pulls me out of the situation.
Really?
And it...
Are you trying to think tactically? What would get me the best stuff?
That's the problem. I'm thinking, I don't fucking care.
Oh.
So I just pick one.
Oh.
And I can't get my brain into the whole mindset of a RPG, like
role playing,
really, and be invested in and really enjoy it, because it doesn't, that part of it doesn't appeal to me.
You're too emotionally withdrawn, Sean.
I am. I don't, you know.
I can understand that if that's not something that appeals to you, then there's weird. Not much.
That's the problem I had with Fallout, and that's the problem I had with freaking, we were just talking about Mass Effect. Because it was
those are all very similar in the way that you create your path.
And that's the thing, is like, me to get vested in that, I just feel like I had to put so much time, and then I get so like, I just want to play. I just want action.
But see, for me in a game like that, like, and especially with this one, that is playing. Like, I'm having more fun with the conversation
and that's awesome.
Like creating that path than anything. I fucking love my character in this game.
Yeah.
I went with a female rogue as well.
Yeah.
And I think
the rogues were awesome.
I think she is awesome.
Yeah.
The voice acting is amazing, and I love really good. The witty comments that you get to make, because mine's just total smart ass.
Oh yeah, mine's smart asses to people unless I really care. I'm like, nice, that would hurt this.
You were
person
describing yours,
about.
And it seemed kind of like the same way that I was playing mine. And I just love her interaction with people. I think the stuff is awesome.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I felt that way. I mean, I love my Shepard character in Mass Effect. I kind of, had that same feeling. But in here, like, I love the stuff that she's doing, and I love talking to people.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I'm playing my character, so she's, really loyal to family and friends, and I've thrown myself into poor situations because I'm like, well, this is going to fucking suck, but you're my friend, and I need to do this.
Right.
And then there are times where surprising things happen, that deal with your family and friends, and, I'm like, seriously? What?
I was nice.
What was I to you? And so, getting into that whole role playing thing again, which is really, really cool. And then, having that attitude, I don't know if it's quite as in depth as like with Alpha Protocol, where the type of reactions that you have build this way that people perceive you. But I get this feeling that, at least in terms of when you deal with different people, you need to kind of think about who they are. And, if you're trying to gain an upper foot here, and like if you have some reason why you want to make them happy, or at least not piss them off, then you have to think about, well, what kind of person is this, and so how would they respond to my jackass thing, or just being very direct, and even if it's kind of cruel or whatever.
And
that's really cool.
I love the streamlinedness of like all. I don't know if that's a word, but it is now.
It is.
Of the game.
Because I was just about
because
to use
I
it.
was
because that's a plus to the game.
I was surprised by that because the first one, that was part of the reason I couldn't get into the first Dragon Age, is that it was so cumbersome at times. Like controlling your party, doing all the things in there.
Was the tactic stuff in there?
Yeah, it was in there, and I think it was even more like obtuse that
really?
in that game.
This tactic system reminded me very much of Final Fantasy 12, which I liked a lot. I liked the tactics.
And see, I didn't end up using the tactics very much in Dragon Age 2 so far. Like
as you get later, dragons when you face off against dragons, it becomes kind of.
But like
helpful.
Controlling
just to change a few things, like give yourself a damn healing potion if you're below 25% health,
and popping up the wheel, and as far as controlling your party, like telling them stay or fight or whatever. I didn't do any of that stuff because I kind of felt like everybody was kind of on their maintain themselves, and that's another thing I loved, switching the characters, and so it was as open or as pinpointed as you wanted to be. So I was content on just playing as Hawk the whole time, and basically having her do I loved being the rogue because I love being able to do the close combat, but I also love to get the bow sometimes and just sit in the back and hit that bow. And so I would stack my team with a fighter and a mage, and I think another rogue. So they would kind of do their own thing, and I would just sit back or go up and be able to change on the fly when I needed. And I love being able to pause the action and do all that stuff and not have to worry about it on the fly. But I just loved that ability to, I could switch those people or I could never do it and they would maintain themselves. I wouldn't have to worry about it.
It does update tactics pretty well in terms of when you give people new abilities, it'll add new things to it. So that I thought that was pretty good. But I also enjoyed going in there and fiddling with the tactics. And yeah, you can get by on the basic tactics, but if you want to fine tune them, it's not that hard to figure out. It's not very hard to figure out at all.
Yeah.
I had an advantage because, like I said, it's pretty much the exact same system that Final Fantasy 12 had.
Okay.
But and I was reminded much more of Final Fantasy games as I was playing this. And part of that is also, I don't know, just because, well, this is something else actually. But one thing that kind of surprised me, especially when I first opened it up, I'm like, it's one disc. What's up with that? And then what else surprised me is that pretty much, at least as far as I know, I'm Act 3 or whatever. Pretty much the entire game takes place in this one city and then the immediately surrounding area. And I'm like, well, that seems very strange for an RPG. And I thought that would take away from things. You're not out saving the world. You're not out saving the universe like Commander Shepard or anything like that. You're invested in this extremely volatile socially and politically city of Kerwal, and at first I'm like, well, that's kind of a letdown, but actually that got me more invested because I cared about just like I was caring about my character's friends and what was happening between them. I cared about the city, and I was starting to become invested in the city, and I'm like, I want this city to do well, because you start off and you're at a really low level in the city socially, and so you're climbing your way up, and and I just became like, I want good things to happen for the city.
There's two different ways.
It was more relatable. I think.
There's two different ways I can go, and I agree with you. I still kind of feel it as kind of limited. It's surprisingly limited compared to kind of what you could do in the first game that I remember.
That's what I was wondering.
It's so wide open,
right?
And the
more
path,
traditional.
it seemed like there was a lot of branching paths as far as who you could pick, and they would all start in different places. This seems like it all goes pretty linear.
It is,
as far as outside of your decisions.
I think that's something that was reminding me of Final Fantasy a little bit more too.
Yeah, because it was really linear, and the fact that you go to basically pick areas that you go to, and they're all the same areas for most of the game that I understand it, and they're kind of smallish areas,
and even different areas will reuse maps.
Yeah,
sometimes.
So I'm kind of torn because it is kind of limited in my opinion. It's I would like to see more area, but on the other end of that, I do agree that it completely makes you invested into that city, because when you spend 30 hours into that, maybe there becomes a turning point where it becomes, well, this is really limited to, well, wait, now I care about everything that's happening in this town because I've spent 20 hours in here building up this shit, and I don't want everything to fall apart.
Right. Yeah.
I care about these people now.
Yeah.
So there, it hits that mark where it switches all of a sudden for me, where now I almost sudden am invested in this 100%, and I don't want to leave this area.
And it is a limited number of areas, but I feel like you're inundated with quests. Quests are constantly going on, and they're all pretty story-based.
And I love the quest system.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I should say, is that even though you're in this area, I love the way that they manage moving around the area.
Yeah.
And the map of switching from day to night and to like the outside of the town, like some of those areas.
Yeah.
And I love being basically everything's fast travel.
Yeah.
You know, from section to section. And I love the way that they direct you for quests and tell you, kind of highlight where you're at. It is maybe the easiest quest system I've ever seen in a game.
I think what was really nice is fast travel to like friends' houses, because it's nice to go to and try to talk to your allies every once in a while. They won't have an actual quest there, but you can sometimes trigger special conversations with them if you just go talk to them.
I think everything being in that fast track kind of path, it's like probably the ultimate RPG as far as like, oh, just one more quest.
Right.
Oh, I'll just do one more.
Oh, I was
quick.
having that problem.
And it never ends because there are so many quests, and you'll go
until you get to the end of the act or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's so many. And so I would always get into my trap of, oh, just one more.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to see what this person's going to say. And then they have a 12-minute conversation.
Yeah.
And then it's like a half hour later.
And I think that's where that loses me, is those long
conversations. And see, I live for them. I love them.
Yeah, I like that too. But I can, and if you don't like that, then that's going to take out a huge chunk of the game.
And that's why I don't want to say nothing bad. I'm not saying anything bad about the game.
I heard you hated it.
I don't. I probably would have played it more had I played it more.
I mean, it's just so, it's just so, wow, so extremely developed, and there are all these tiny little things going on. Like, you know, I would try to go into this one area with someone in my party, and then that person would drop out of my party, and I'd be down to 2 backup characters every time I tried to go into that area. I'm like, what the hell is that about? And then it came up again later, and like I kind of discovered what was going on, and just
that's awesome.
There's tons of little things if you just pay attention to everything that's kind of going on. That's why I keep thinking there's going to be something with pigeons, because that damn bartender keeps telling me about those missing pigeons. That's all he tells me now. No, but you know, there's just a lot of fun to be had in terms of role playing, and I think it succeeds even over like Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2, and even the PC RPGs, where I think widening that scope in terms of the world and the wide variety of things that you do, it kind of diffuses the focus for there.
I agree with you. That feeds back into that.
I think Sean's talked about that before, where you just get kind of lost.
There's too much.
There's too much going on.
So this is like an RPG that goes the other way, where it's like really limited, but it's like highly concentrated.
Right. And I think that the limiting factor makes it feel a little bit like Final Fantasy games, but I think there's more to it than that. Remember when I talked about Alpha Protocol, I'm like, people need to pay attention to this system for making dialogue important, impacting, not just because you want to be a good guy or be a bad guy, but make it influence the story going out. And I think that Dragon Age 2 succeeds at that, at kind of doing the same sort of thing that I liked so much in Alpha Protocol.
Even going back to Mass Effect, you have those good, bad choices, but I don't feel for the most part that they do much.
No,
story-wise.
I mean, other than making
you're a dick or you're a good
renegade.
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And in this, I feel like I can be.
It'll influence. Like sometimes you'll get that percentage.
Yeah,
you'll gain the ability,
but not really anything.
No,
in the scope of things, and in Dragon Age 2, I definitely feel like it's impacting things, and it is growing your character and
grows your friends too. They even gain skills based on how much how friendly or rivalry they are with
and you don't have necessarily good bad. There's middle of the roads. There's many different facets you can follow, and you can really sculpt it. And I love that. I love that aspect.
Yeah.
One of the other streamlining things I wanted to talk about was the equipment management, which I love, and I think it's really easy and not complicated at all. And I love the upgrade system, and I love being able to throw stuff in the trash, like the cell thing. That's just really streamlined and clean.
Yeah.
And I like that your party members, you don't have to worry about armor for them.
Yeah,
like you can give them the trinkets.
That kind of set me back at first, because I'm like, well, I can't do it.
But I like it.
You can upgrade their armor. Yes, you can find upgrades.
And I like that you can give them, like the trinkets, like the rings and the amulets and the belts, to like boost up their stuff. You can give them new weapons. But I like just focusing on my one person for the armor, because it almost gets too much for me when you have to manage, well, especially if there's like 8 people or 6 people you can choose from.
Yeah.
If you wanted to manage all of them, that'd be a lot.
Yeah. And I
about that.
I think that comes back to kind of highlight that idea of how I'm playing, where I mostly just control Hawk throughout the game, unless there's like something specific, like you need to take this or use this injury kit or whatever, because you have the most control over Hawk's development. Everyone else is it's kind of fun to let them kind of be on their own and have them developing as their own kind of characters.
And I love all the abilities. I love the skill trees, and I love the options for they have passive abilities. They have ones that you trigger. Yes. Ones that are on that you turn on.
I have to get
and then you can
I'm
turn
getting
them
to
off.
the point where I'm just trying to find the passive abilities now because I've already got like plenty of activated abilities. I think I'm like at round level 15 or whatever.
Did you hear anything about a bug with the game? I saw some stuff this last week that there's
dealing with what?
That there's one of the people that if you get them to be, I think it's Isabella, if she becomes your friend and so her passive ability activates, like it continually, like there's something wrong in the coding, and if she's in your party and has that passive ability, her and like one of the other dudes, they don't work right, so they continually decrease your stats of Hawk, and it's irreversible. Like, and so it's happening on at least the 360 version. I don't know if it's on anything else.
I had not heard of that or experienced.
So I don't know what the combo is or what the situation is. So what happens is people are finding that their Hawk is basically like running in slow motion because it has made their movement and speed at a negative value because it's consistently decreased.
Yeah.
It like adds the bonus or it takes away the bonus when they're gone, but it never like gives it back when they're back in.
Right. Weird.
So it continually decreases them, and so they were doing like no damage at the end of the game. So that's terrible.
I just had it freeze on me twice. But,
oh, did you?
Yeah.
I had to burn it. I had to put it on my hard drive because I noticed it was being so loud.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was like grinding like a mother.
Yeah.
I just always do that. And it's only one disc.
Yeah.
It actually isn't that big because they're reusing the maps. I mean, they saved a lot of space. And they probably had to do that, what with all of the dialogue, the dynamic dialogue going on and the way that influences things.
But anyway, sorry I sidetracked from that. I'm glad you haven't had that bug, though. But
I haven't. I've had a couple of small glitches or whatever, like I'll be talking to someone and then they'll repeat the animation. I had to repeat an entire conversation once. I got to the end of the conversation and then it just started over again. And I made the same decisions and then it ended. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. I'm just going to go now.
But the abilities, I do like... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in tactics, this might play into something you're talking about. The tactics sometimes are a little baffling, mostly because like I have my mage who's also my healer and whatever, and I have him set to heal everybody, allies at like when they get below 25% health. And there will be times where I'm just going to keep attacking this monster instead of healing people. And so, I mean, there might be something else involved there, but like every once in a while, tactics are kind of a little bit screwy.
Yeah.
Another problem that I had, and it's a good problem to have at least, is I got this like spectral shield or whatever that originally the mage can cast around himself and they'll decrease damage. Then I got it upgraded so he casts on everybody in the party, and then I got it upgraded so it also reduces like elemental damage, which is totally sweet. And so then I'm like, well, I can use that since because sometimes he's just engaged in battle, and so if he misses that opportunity, that small window of like when people get hurt that low, then he doesn't have time to react. He can't stop what he's doing to then go heal. And so I'm like, oh, well, he can cast that. And so I set that. So, if any allies' health is below 50%, cast the spectral shield. And that's pretty awesome because I figured that would slow it down a little bit to give him time to heal somebody. And he's been really good about it now. But the thing is that every once in a while I'll go into a battle, and when the battle starts, he just automatically casts spectral shield. I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, I guess that's okay. I don't mind having the spectral shield, but that's not what I told you to do. So I wonder if they also have a few non-tactic things that they do as well. I don't know. But
that's funny though.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. It's just sapping his mana because there's the turn on, turn off abilities, which are pretty sweet.
Which I like those too. I like all the ability stuff. I didn't know how the tree was going to be, but I like how they do it. I don't know how it compares to the first game, so I haven't heard anything, but I like how it is in here because it seems simplified. It seems simple to me, and I'm a simple dude.
It's definitely intuitive. Yeah,
I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
See, I'm the yellow button guy. Auto. Bloop.
What?
I auto level everybody up.
Are you kidding me?
See, that's what I'm talking about.
You hurt me.
Exactly. So why should a guy...
Why are you even playing this game?
Should a guy waste his time?
I auto everybody. No wonder you hate conversations. You don't even want to decide what to put your points into.
Nope.
Oh my god.
Nope.
But no, there have been times.
I'm not kidding.
There have been times where I have to stop for like 2 minutes as I'm sitting there thinking about what do I want to do for this decision.
It's awesome. I'm that.
Like, I could see her making either one of these choices. Which one? You know, and I'm proud of myself because I'm not just trying to scope, what will give me the biggest advantage? Because actually, there's no true advantage.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a bit of a downside to whatever choice you make.
Which is good.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, that, again, lends into the RPG
You can't have
aspect.
everything in it.
Yeah. You can't min-max this.
Hard for me, but I like those kind of decisions, too.
Yes. Sometimes. And they have armor sets. I like me collecting armor sets.
You do.
And then I wait until I get at least 2 better pieces of armor before I start taking the armor sets. Because the armor sets give you bonus stats. You get like a separate ability thing on your ability tree, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I like the game a lot.
It's good.
I think I rented it.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to buy it.
I think I've rented it like 4 times, 3 times. 3 times. It'd be my 4th today if I re-rent it. I just need to stop renting it and go buy the goddamn thing.
I think you do. You're up to what, half the cost of it now?
No.
Oh, okay.
I get a good deal.
Oh, okay. You steal it.
I steal it.
You steal it.
Totally. Pretty much.
It kind of is sometimes. I feel like I'm stealing from that place when I walk out of there. Like, what?
I know. It's a good deal.
I rented 2 games and what?
So yeah, I think I'm going to have to buy it because I think that it. But then again, I have other games that I bought that are sitting there still, so I can't do that.
Yeah, but you've already started this.
I love it.
It's really cool.
Is that it then?
That's it.
That's it.
Done. Woo, doggies. What? I don't know. Sign in podcast.
Are you going to turn into a settler now?
No.
A Western settler?
Ooh,
doggies.
Wagon chain, get it rolling.
Welcome to the Hold Down Podcast.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You don't like them? No.
I'm really an old prospector.
Darn it.
Oh, jeez. All right. Signedinpodcast.com.
Get off of my claims.
Signedinpodcast.com. That is our website.
I like the odd G's. That was weird for you. Odd G's.
Nuts.
Nuts.
Our Twitter feed over there, our Facebook fan page, our past episodes, our link to our forums, and all the other pseudo radio shows like the Pull List.
Woohoo!
Which you kids do every week.
Darn tootin'.
Talking about comic books.
Yeah.
And the crazy Blood Bowl.
And then the Blood Bowl podcast, 3-Die Block as well. You can leave us, or not leave us, but don't leave us. Please, baby, don't leave us. I didn't mean it, baby.
Don't leave us.
Come on, baby, I didn't mean it.
I'll give him my gold nugget.
You know I love you. Oh, stop the prospector.
I'll show you my gold nugget.
Prospect.
Prospector. Is that what you're trying to say?
Prospector. I was trying to work it out in my head, and I'm not very smart. Comments at signedinpodcast.com is our email address. You guys got me all thrown off.
Don't put me in the mix.
This is my script I'm running through here. Comments at signedinpodcast.com. Email address. Email us anytime. Ask us anything. Tell us to stop talking like prospectors. Please tell Craig to stop talking like prospector, and I'll share that with him. And that's it. Next episode, Crisis 2 is coming out this week. I'm going to check that out. Lego Star Wars 3 is coming out this week.
Nice.
Probably a lot of other stuff that I'm not thinking about.
Is this going to go into April? I can't do
it. Well, it'll be the 1st of April.
Oh, just the 1st of April.
Why? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I know that Battlefield's arcade game is coming out in early April. Is that right?
I don't know.
Or late March.
I don't know anything.
It's coming up soon.
There you go.
Soon.
Spring.
Shooting with vehicles and
Yay.
mechs. Crazy destruction.
Is that it?
Yeah.
You got anything? You look like you're trying to think of something to say. Nothing?
I'm just trying to think that isn't there something else coming out soon? I don't know what it was.
I don't
You
know.
Prospector. For the Kinect.
Are we done?
Let's pan for some gold.
And you stood there panning.
I'll do my kung fu laugh at the end. That's good for everybody, right?
Panning on Kinect.
Load.
Bye.
Later.
receiving this transmission. This has been a pseudo radio production. Repeat, this has been a pseudo radio production. Copyright 2011.